1900 and always online at lernerandrowe.com. Now time for Calling All Sports with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on Fox Sports 910.
Good Thursday to you, Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B and Jack's out here at Twin Peaks in Scottsdale. We got Ben at the iHeartRadio studios for the next 3 hours. Appreciate you coming along for the ride. We're going to get into a lot of different things today. One being that we're at Twin Peaks, and there's no Thursday night game. It doesn't mean that you can't come down and join us and take advantage of the Blue Moon and Coors Light specials that start at 3 o'clock and every Thursday, kind of kick off the football weekend. So we're going to get into that a little bit later, and you'll have a chance to compete against one of the lovely ladies here at Twin Peaks.
Nicole's going to be our...
you already got her.
We got Nicole. Fran is not here today behind the bar and being the pick extraordinaire. She comes in a little bit later tonight. So Nicole, who just said, look, I got game. She was telling me and Jack's here before, and we're talking about, she goes, look, I got game. I can make it happen. So Nicole's going to break it down for us this afternoon.
Before we catch up with Nicole, Rick Horo will join us and get his thoughts on some of the sports betting sites that were impacted by the suspension and now the cancellation of that Bills-Bengals game. So we'll dive into that. We will also catch up with one Howard Balzer, talk about this Cardinals game on Sunday against the 49ers. And a little bit later, it will be on the national side, James Jones, former Packer and Raiders receiver. A lot of news in Green Bay and in Vegas with the Raiders. So we'll dive into some conversation with him as well. But let's dive into this first hour of the show and what is trending.
Time for the top local and national stories of the hour. Powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona. Bet big on your favorite teams and players in an environment that's as exciting as the game you're watching. There's no better place in the Valley to get in on the action. The Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar. Now, guys, what's your top story this hour?
I think it's got to be Damar Hamlin in the latest. If you have not heard by now, it was reported earlier this morning that he is showing substantial improvement in his recovery from going into cardiac arrest and collapsing on the field on Monday night's game there in Cincinnati. I think, guys, that's what we wanted to hear as you're finally hearing some significant progress. There's still a long way to go, I'm sure, and we're not doctors and we're not going to pretend to be one on air, but this is great to hear that it's at least going in the positive direction, not the other direction.
The key was that he's becoming more and more neurologically healthy, which was very key. His lungs are starting to improve.
Yes.
So you're hearing more and more
moving his hands,
moving his feet. They're communicating. He can't really speak right now, but he understands what's going on.
He is communicating by writing. Which I thought was pretty interesting.
That is, guys, to talk about just like a relief for the community of Buffalo, for all of us fans to hear that he's improving on a day-by-day basis. And, the neurological health was key for me because I think that they got to him quickly. They applied the CPR. They defibbed him. They've got the oxygen going again. When his pulse, he had a pulse but no heart rate, it was wow. I mean, his heart stopped. That was so key with the assistant trainer and the trainer the doctor did. Like, they recognized it immediately. And guys, quite frankly, not only just save his life, but maybe a lot of the functions neurologically and speaking-wise. So, again, continued thoughts and prayers for Hamlin.
It's only secondary, but people want to know what's going on with that game and will it be made up. The Bills and the Bengals, as of right now, that game will not resume. There was some talk earlier this afternoon about this and that the league is still trying to figure out how to determine that playoff seeding, given that the Bills and the Bengals will finish with only 16 games each. So I'm anxious to see how this all comes out. We're going to talk to the sports professor, Rick Horo, in about 25 minutes. Fantasy, sports betting.
Well, yeah.
So much was affected by this one particular game.
Yes.
One being our fantasy. It came down to the final game between myself and Kevin Rowe from Lerner and Rowe, and we're a part of Yahoo. I went in with a lead, but we both had players that were going for Cincinnati. So I'm sure if one and the other, it was, and I think I finished with just like 3, 4, 5 points ahead of them.
Right.
And our commissioner league needs to make a decision because there's some opportunities moving forward that you can take the stats that actually happened up until that time,
Right.
use those, or you kind of cancel that game like a COVID game would have been or something like that. So not sure what our commissioner's going to do on the outcome of our league play, but Jax will have to figure it out.
Well, maybe he consults the commission of the National Football League with all these scenarios that they're looking at right now. I saw a couple different scenarios where their one thing is give them both the win. So it comes down to this weekend, that tiebreaker or whoever gets the top seed by your wins this week. KC wins and Buffalo wins. I heard make it a tie. And
I heard
draw.
the tie quite a bit.
The tie quite a bit, and just wherever they are with this last game, look at the seeding and the tiebreakers that they both have, and let that be as it may. And quite frankly, guys, I think as far as the Bills are concerned, the Bengals are concerned, wherever because of this situation, and if they go that route, I think they would go, okay, wherever our seeding is, we'll apply to it, we're good, we'll move on due to the circumstances.
I'm with you 100% on that. There was some talk also about playing a game at a neutral site. I don't think that's going to fly with anybody, to be honest.
What game at a neutral site?
If they played the Bengals and Bills at a neutral site.
Oh, that's not going to happen. They've canned that.
That's not going to take place. But there was talk about that as well. I just think that what Manuch said about just play the cards and then just go play and get into the play.
Wherever you end up
at.
Yeah.
I mean, and for you fantasy players, it's in most leagues, they're allowing the commissioners of those individual leagues to kind of enact their own solutions. And that could be awarding points manually for Week 18 games to the Week 17 matchup, moving the title game to the next week,
right,
or combining points from both weeks into a single total score. So, I mean, this is going to be the biggest decision that Jax has had as being part of this team. Because he knows the title sponsor of the show is one of the teams that's in the finals, and the other person is his boss.
I
just had one of the co-hosts of the show.
And we don't have a show without the title sponsor
or the boss.
Jax, hey, it's your world. We're just passing through, buddy.
That's it, bud.
I don't know what I'm going to do. We'll see.
You'll flip a coin.
Yeah,
just flip a coin.
You got till Sunday morning.
Oh, that's right.
For the next game. So, in other news, the Suns fell short in Cleveland. I've watched a lot of basketball, and I've watched some ABA and some other leagues in Europe, but I can't remember a time where I turn on the game and I see two teams in the NBA with the most hideous-looking uniforms. I think the Suns uniforms are horrible. They look like Memphis, or they look like I don't even know who they look like. And what Cleveland had yesterday, the land made no sense either. A guy that my whole family's from Cleveland. I'm a Cleveland guy. That's embarrassing.
Don't you think that these teams try to reach out to anybody, everybody, and then some just to appease them with uniforms, colors?
It's just a world in general that we have to worry about the 1%.
Yeah, the thing exactly.
It's like, come on.
I mean, I see the powder blue. I see the orange.
How's that Phoenix Suns colors?
It's the turquoise, Rock. It's
awful.
It's part of the heritage of the indigenous nation here in the valley with the blue and. Hell, I thought they were going to go like the Rattlers' old colors, the teal and black there for a while. I'm like, can we just go with the basic colors, the road uniform and the away uniform and all the above? But you know what? All that being said, some defense broke out last night, Jimmy.
You right.
Did you see that?
You were screaming.
No, I think the Cavs were just a little hungover from Monday night at 71 from Mitchell.
I think
they were hungover.
They might have all got drug tested yesterday. Besides Mitchell, that might have affected them one way or the other.
So losing streak's now 4.
Yeah,
they lost by 2 last night. Had a shot late. Chris Paul can't lead this team, and he did last night in points, 25. But they're now 1-5 on the road trip,
especially in the fourth quarter.
They're now 20-19. They'll host the Heat tomorrow night. Then Cleveland's back in town. I think Sunday.
Yeah.
So I don't know where to go with this. Does it spiral out of control?
I'll tell you where I'll go. I screamed yesterday on the show for DeAndre Ayton to get 20 to 25 shots. He got 12.
Yeah, that's been common. You've been preaching that for a while.
I have been. And look, you got to let him do his thing. He was 7 of 12 from the floor. And Cleveland couldn't score. The Suns couldn't score. It was awful basketball. I mean, they shot 39% from the floor, meaning the Suns, while Cleveland also shot 39%.
And here's the thing, though. The only problem, though, Jimmy, is that he was 1 for 4 in the fourth quarter, as was Mikal Bridges.
Still got to go back.
I get it. And Monty Williams said after the game, you got to give him the ball more.
Yes.
Well, has he not been listening to Roc and Manuch and Jimmy B
2 minutes
the last 2 weeks?
Mikal Bridges was 3 of 15. 3 of 15.
And to that point, Rock, in reference to CP3, he's the guy that kept him in the game with the 8 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And then Mitchell, he steps up in the fourth quarter. Talk about guys making the big name guys making buckets when you need them.
That's what they do.
And Mikal Bridges, he's either in a funk or something's wrong, or the pressure's too much for him to have to be the guy scoring. And then with the whole DA thing, give him the damn ball. I don't care if he's 1 for 20 in the fourth quarter.
But he's not going to be. When he has the ball down low on the block in the lane area, he's a threat to score every time he touches.
Well, they give him the ball. And Monty to say after the game, it's like, well, no kidding.
Yeah.
I mean, you're coming back now.
1 minute.
And he's playing against a legitimate center in Jarrett Allen. And they also have Evan Mobley as well. Both those guys are 7-footers. And he still was scoring on both of them. And yet they refused to get him the ball.
Arizona State basketball is back on the hardwood tonight. They have the Cougars in town, Washington State. Game time is at 6 o'clock. If you are spontaneous and you have an urge to go to this game tonight, I have 4 tickets with parking for you right now. Woo. 5th caller will email you the tickets directly to you, so it's real easy to get in through Ticketmaster. All you have to do is be the 5th caller at 602-260-9191. 602-260-9191 as ASU Washington State in Tempe, 6 o'clock start. So those 4 tickets and parking are yours if you are the right caller. So make sure if you can use these tickets and you can go, call. But don't do what the guy did last week.
Oh, no, he didn't.
Oh, no.
A no-show? Oh, you're kidding me, Rob.
It's like, I can't use them. I can't use them.
Did you put him in the double secret probation for like the next 2 years?
No, they didn't get used. And it was U of A, Arizona.
Oh, my
How could
gosh.
you not go to that game?
Well, I was at the Fiesta Bowl. So, yeah, like that morning, I can't go. And I'm like, can you give it to somebody else? He's like, no. I just want to say, you are banned from ever winning again.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we'll continue. It's Roc and Manuch, Jimmy B for Twin Peaks. Fox Sports 910. Day in San Francisco. By the way, Kyler Murray recovering from a successful ACL surgery yesterday. And I wanted to play, if you could, real quick before we get to Manuch Clipboard Report, what Cliff Kingsbury had to say about Kyler Murray and how he can't wait to get back at it in rehab.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's never been through this, obviously, but he's excited that it can be kind of a reset for him. We had our struggles this year offensively, and we feel like we can play at a much higher level. And I think he understands that he can bring himself back better and attack this thing. And I think that's how he's doing it. It's kind of a reset, and where he takes it now, it's kind of how it's going to define his career.
So Colt McCoy's done for the year. David Blau gets the nod again. So let's start with this offense. Looking ahead to San Francisco, what does this offense need to do, Manuch, to maybe
against the number one defense in the league?
Help me out with the 13, 14 points that the Cards are getting?
Well, you're going against the league's number one defense, who had a little bit of a hiccup last week against the Raiders. But, I think with Connors and Ingram and Clement playing, again, they're just going to have to be focused on running, and you're going to have to run to the outside. You're going to have to run to the perimeter. Guys, it's going to be extremely difficult to run between the guard and the tackle. And I know that, James Conner can move the pile a little bit, but you got this 4-3 defense with some outstanding defensive linemen, outstanding linebackers that can plug the gaps pretty good. So when you look at running inside, you got to get to the outside. That's going to be first and foremost. With this pass rush, with the kind of pressure that this defense, did I mention the number one defense in the league?
Yes, you did, yes.
You're going to have to be very adept at the screen game. You're going to just get a lot of screens, quick passing game. David Blau has got to get the football out early and often. I believe that's the only way you slow this pass rush down. And if you are going to throw the ball, which I like with David Blau, he threw the ball down the field several times. I love that.
I know you
did. They threw the ball more than 25, 30 yards. He took a couple shots.
Yep.
Give him max protect. Now, the kid's got good vision. He reads well. He looked off the safety a couple times and threw the ball down the field. He missed McBride on one throw, post corner.
Yep.
If he hits him, it's a touchdown or pretty close to it. So give him maximum protection. There's I don't know what receiver's going to play, what's not. I know Dortch will be in there. Green will be there. Looks like Anderson's out. We know that D-Hop's out. We got a question mark on Hollywood Brown. But whoever. I mean, Trey McBride again. And that's the thing. Max protect.
Can't rely on him, though.
You can't, because this defense, they'll cover you. They'll cover him with safeties. But again, give him max protect. Allow him to take some shots down the field. And in watching that Vegas game last week, guys, that's one thing that Jared Stidham do. He had protection. He was able to find the holes in the defense. And where that holes were across the middle and in the seams. You got outstanding cornerbacks outside, so it's very difficult to beat them unless you make an acrobatic catch like Devontae Adams did toward the end of the game. You talk about Trey McBride. He's going to have to be your third down beater. I mean, he's going to have to be that guy you focus on. Or in the third down situations, if you got 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, you're going to have to, I'll say this, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, you're going to have to throw the ball. If it's 3rd and 1, I think you can pound it with Connors. And Connors, I hope, is healthy. I know his back injury last week.
He's been banged up all year.
He's banged up.
You take what you can get from him.
Absolutely.
He's a bonus.
Now, and Blau can move a little bit. He's got some escapability, but I give him max protect. I'd roll him out. I'd waggle him periodically. And again, incorporate Trey McBride and looks like McWilliams. He's another guy they got to rely on. But if you got to go, 2 tight end packages most of this game, then be it. But the key for this offense, got to be able to run a little bit. If you can run a little bit, you can do some play action. But you got to find the vulnerability guys down the middle of this defense. That's this 4-3 front. That's what this San Francisco 49ers defense is vulnerable, is down the middle. Be rare for you to get a shot outside. But you know what, A.J. Green, guess what? Probably your last game as a pro, I'd target him 6 or 7 times. If Hollywood's playing, I'd target him. But you can't get into a throwing game with this defense, or they'll be all over you and they'll smother you. Be ready for the hots, the side adjusts, and give David Blau some max protection. That's how you have a chance, a snowball's chance in hell, to beat this 49ers defense.
What's San Francisco playing for?
The top spot
seed
in the NFC.
Yeah, they're playing for it.
If Dallas
And Philly
loses.
Philly loses, yeah.
So they will know before the game starts.
That is correct.
But the one thing, and I know where you're going here, Rock. Well, maybe they back off a little bit.
Yes.
Shanahan won't allow them to back off.
Oh, come on.
He will not.
You say that all the time, like you play the game. I get it, but it's just human nature.
If you got to play,
these
next
guys
week,
are. Why? If you got to play next week, let's slow it down a little bit. Take some of our top guys out so they don't get hurt. Let's put in some of the younger guys,
and that could happen. But
thank you.
As far as the situation, you want to keep your momentum.
Yeah.
You want to if you want to keep your momentum and keep that intensity
I get that,
and
but
all
if
that.
you're up by 20, your momentum's there. You blew out the Cardinals. Now let's get some guys in there, get some reps.
And if they are blowing out the Cardinals, if they are doing that, but you don't want to ever go in the game going, well, hey, we'll figure out what our game plan is going to be.
You're never going to say that.
If Philadelphia loses, or Philadelphia loses, they want to be focused. They want to go in hitting on all cylinders.
But Manuch, it's human nature in any sport. If you're up by a lot, you're going to slow it down a little.
Well,
right? If Jimmy's 7 under, I mean, he's got 3 holes to go. He's going to take his time and be like, all right,
3 minutes,
couple pars here, bogey. I'm
good.
I'm still 6, 7, 8 under.
Yeah, I get that. If you're up 28-7, 31-7, yeah, you might make some changes. But I mean, going into the game, you're not going to think that way. You're not going to back off.
But your thought process is going to change before that tip off. You're going to know right away.
You're going to know, but
you're going to know
your game plan.
And you're thinking, okay, so let me ask you. Who's back up after Brock Purdy?
They've got
exactly.
Kid in
my point. So what happens? You're going to play Brock Purdy the four quarters, no matter what.
If they have to now.
Oh, you mean you?
What's Josh Johnson?
I'm only saying this if they're up. Kansas State guy, right?
Yeah, John. No, he's
no. Where did he go to school?
He's been with 16 different teams in National Football League. God bless him. Josh Johnson. He's been with many different teams.
I think he was either Florida or Florida State.
But if they get him some reps in the third and fourth quarter, okay. Now, if you're comfortably ahead and there's no way, they do not want to lose this game. So their mentality is,
I would have never gotten that.
Their mentality is to go into this game and to make sure that they take care of business, keep their momentum and their strategy moving forward. If Philadelphia loses that game,
can I just give you Josh Johnson's career history?
Like 95 teams?
Yeah, close.
2008, 2011, it was the Bucks. Then he went to the 49ers in 12, the Sacramento Mountain Lions in 12, the Browns in 12. Then he went to the Bengals in 13, 49ers in 14, Bengals again in 15, Jets in 15, Colts in 15, Bills in 15. Then he goes to the Ravens in 16, Giants in 16, Texans in 17, Raiders in 18, Redskins in 18, the San Diego Fleet in 2019. Yeah. Then he goes to the Lions at 2019. Then the Los Angeles Wildcats of 2020. Then he's at the 49ers in 2020 to 2021. Jets in 2021. Ravens in 2021. Broncos in 2022. And now the San Francisco 49ers 2022. You wonder, he must be a good Packer. Like a good guy to travel well.
Have suitcases.
It's amazing he's still in the league, but obviously they know that he can come in, run an offense, get the plays off, get this team matriculating down the field from that standpoint. But, Rock, to your point, they're going to go in there. They want to win. If they're way up, they'll start putting substitutes in left and right.
That was my only point.
Yeah.
You were just trying to make a point that, they're going to go at it hard for the full four quarters.
No.
So I'm like,
I mean, they want to win.
Human nature. If you're up by 20, you're up by 30 in any sport. Let's bring in the subs. Let's bring in the guys at the end of the bench, and let's get through this and not get anybody hurt.
But the one thing a head coach wants to make sure is that whether Philly has won or lost, that they play hard and don't throttle back, because that's when you get hurt. You guys got to keep their intensity. Go out there.
Shanahan, I mean, come on. This guy has had a lot of success in San Francisco in a short time.
Yes.
It's a really good team.
He did a very good team. He had this kind of a team in Atlanta when they went to the Super Bowl with Matt Ryan and the weaponry that he had on the outside.
And he didn't hit the gas enough in that game.
Well, you know what? He should have ran when he threw. He tried to get cute a couple times. And I think Kyle Shanahan has learned a lot of lessons himself, and also some lessons from watching his dad, Mike Shanahan, when he's with the Denver Broncos. So those are some of the things you look at. And just real quick, defensively, they've got so many weapons, San Francisco. I think that you can control CMC, Christian McCaffrey, from making big runs, and just know where the hell George Kittle is on every play. Isaiah Simmons, You got him the whole game. We're going to see who you are, what you are. You being Mr. Jack of all trades and master of none. What do they call it? The Swiss Army knife that you are?
That would be
That's your assignment. And if you're going to put any kind of pressure on Brock Purdy, you got to force him out of the pocket and force him off platform to have any kind of success as far as trying to sack him. Sack him from the inside, force him out to the outside if you're going to have a chance to beat this 49ers team.
Hey, if you're looking for some free food, maybe some cold Coors Lights, well, we're giving you a chance right now. Sign up to play in our Twin Peaks Fan Pick'em contest. That's where you pick the pro picks. We do it all the way up to the Super Bowl, so it's never too late to sign up. It's all courtesy of Blue Moon and Coors Light. Just head to fanpick'em.com. That's fanpick'em.com. We'll take a look at the business side of sports next. Fantasy football, sports betting, all those sites were impacted by the suspension of the Bills and Bengals game, and we're going to catch up with the sports professor Rick Horrow to discuss that and many other things as we continue from Twin Peaks in Scottsdale. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Fox Sports 910.
Business of Sports. Author of the new bestseller, The Sport Business Handbook. Host of Power of Sports and architect of over 100 deals worth billions in sports. The sports professor,
You guys are hot.
Rick joins Roc and Manuch on Fox Sports 910.
It's not surprising that Monday night's tragic circumstances prompted an increase in Monday Night Football viewers. The massive audience was the most watched Monday Night Football broadcast since the NFL moved to the entire series to ESPN in 2006. Wow. Just huge. And that number was over 24 million. And joining us now, talk about the business side of sports, is our good friend Rick Horo. How you doing, Rick? Happy New Year.
Good. Happy New Year to you, too. I also, if I'm not mistaken, the game was simulcast on ABC and ESPN.
Yes, it was.
So, you know, and that doesn't automatically account for that. It's just we understand the circumstances. But it was a different deal all around. So I understand people are drawn to the tragedy, and it became a news story, which also then elevated the reason why people are watching it.
Yeah, ESPN2 as well. So it was on 3 networks, at least according to what I have in front of me from Nielsen. But, yeah, Rick, I'm sure, as we have said all week, we've not seen anything like that before. And it's great to hear that there's been substantial improvement by Hamlin, and where he's communicating through writing, and hands and feet and all that are moving. So I know he's not out of the woods yet, but at least we're getting some positive reports. But now, you know, people are already turning their attention to the business side, playing the game, replaying the game, or resuming the game, but fantasy and betting and all that. I don't even know where to go with this, Rick. I mean, how long until you think this will all be kind of settled?
Well, it'll be settled, I suspect, right after or right before the end of Week 18. I'm voting for right after. I suspect also that there will be a considerable discussion about the various alternatives. And I've been saying all along, I do think that if it's going to come down to a percentage difference that means home field, meaning that they'll award a non-game, and maybe they'll decide home field and seeding based on win percentage. That's a little more acceptable than doing something that means somebody's going to be in or out of the playoffs. So a lot of issues, a lot of people speculating. One thing I'm pretty sure not going to happen is that they're going to play Week 18 and then play nothing for the next week while the Bengals and Bills get decided, because the TV networks don't have an appetite for one whole week in January for football after the national championship, and we basically would get 3/4 of the game. That's not going to work. So there are a lot of discussions about do you have the NFC wild card side first, and then stagger them a week later. There are, again, a lot of scenarios, but I think at the end of the day, we'll have some clarity of that in the next couple of days.
I was going to say that would the clarity come prior to the games, Rick? Because if a lot of those folks, and one of those I've seen is they give both teams, both Buffalo and Cincinnati, a win, and this weekend will determine the seeding and who gets the top seed, all the above. So I would, to your point, Saturday late afternoon or Friday tomorrow, sooner rather than later, so every team knows where they stand or what could be the potential.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. I suspect it's Saturday afternoon before the games, or then we wait until Monday morning, but they're not going to do it in the middle of it. And I think they'll end up trying to figure out how to maneuver that. And I don't think anybody's going to like some of the alternatives. Do you make the Bills play a couple of games quickly before everybody else does? It's nobody. They're going to try to level the playing field as best they can. But this is something you've never seen before, really.
Hey, I want to get your maybe I don't know the answer to this. So the college football playoff, Michigan, Ohio State, Georgia, TCU, all got $6 million each. So the Big Ten gets $12 million. All right. Does Michigan and Ohio State get a bigger percentage of that?
Well, I don't know. And let me tell you why. It's because it is not determined one conference fits all.
Okay.
Each conference, I know for a fact, has their own rules about how to split revenue, and they do it for basketball as well as for football. So, ACC is a good example. Do you let the teams keep the revenue, or do they throw it into their own pot, into big pot, and then distribute it to everybody? Do you let the teams who are in the tournament take a higher share and then throw it in the pot? I know there are people that know that answer, and I must admit, for the first time in my 8-9 year history with you, I'll actually say I don't know.
Wow, what's that guy on ESPN? We always try to get. We can't get him on.
Yeah.
Who?
He always has the answers. Yeah, that's okay.
Oh, Binkley? What's his name? Binkley?
No. The other sports professor guy.
The big dog.
My gosh, he's on CNN now. Who am I thinking of? Darn it, that's how much I know.
I don't follow him. I follow Rick Horrow. I don't follow the other guy. I make sure.
Yeah, Rick, let me follow up when we were talking about the college football playoff game. In your estimation, is this going to be a knockout number? In other words, a monster number with TCU and Georgia? Or because it's TCU and not Michigan or Ohio State, that number will not be as large?
I think probably the latter, but that's what I'm guessing. Everybody was talking about New Year's Eve being the reason why numbers were low. Numbers were amazingly high, as we know, and part of it was the perfect storm of the TCU coming out of nowhere, the Ohio State coming through the back door. Michigan has 400 trillion alums and they're avid. And then Georgia did they win 2 in a row. Those were two. Those are really compelling stories, and I have. By the way, shameless plug. I interviewed Nick Saban. He's on my podcast this week. What a gentleman as far as interviews are concerned. Yeah, we did that again, and we used him. And he's when he talked about Pop Warner and he talks about his family, he's great. When he talked about should he been in the college football playoff, then it's another story altogether.
I know. I mean, you're so much better than Darren Rovell, but I just want to ask this one.
Oh,
okay.
There's the answer. Thank you. Bye. Thank you. I appreciate it. I forgot him already.
No,
I forgot the guy already.
But you're a Harvard guy, so. So last year, the NCAA, they ratified a new constitution and they created what they called they wanted to try to modernize college sports. And then I find out, I see yesterday that this transformation committee in the D1 has decided to punt and not move forward with trying to create a committee to modernize college sports. Do you have any idea why that may have happened and why they're not going to continue going down that road? Is it maybe a new commissioner now is going in, or it's political? What do you think it could be?
Well, it's certainly political, and it's one of those things where there's no right answer.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's a very difficult situation to resolve. In the whole context, the moving pieces are moving quicker than it ever has in college sports with the 12-team playoff and the NIL and the transfer portal all at once. And so, part of it is if I'm going to be involved in the NCAA in some way, and I know there's going to be a new president, the deference may be, let them get started, and then we will pick it up where we left off. I don't think that punting means they're not going to do it. I just think we're postponing it a little bit.
So, we were scheduled to have Nick on, so I don't know what you said to get him before we did on your podcast. So you must have had some pull there.
I offered him a parking space.
Yeah, this Super Bowl is going to be a little tough, man. I mean, but I'm sure I'll be able to get you. I had a couple for you for the Fiesta Bowl, but I didn't see you here. So, I mean, I could have.
Why don't you give me the Fiesta Bowl parking spaces right now? The ones that I could have used 2 weeks ago. Those would be really good.
Yeah, you're actually. That's why he went to Harvard. See, a lot of people don't know. The Super Bowl's being played in the same place where Fiesta Bowl is. Wow.
He put two together.
By the way, just a little bit of advance notice. I will be there on the Tuesday. What is it, the 7th or the 8th? And I'll say, obviously, it's Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah,
so we got to figure out how we're teeing it up. We're teeing it up. I know, Rick, I'm busy. We run a TV show. We run a radio show. Yeah, but I'm there, so we better figure out when we're going to play.
All right, we'll make a deal with you. You get us on your TV show, and you can play all the golf you want. How's that?
Oh, boy. Uh-oh.
Somebody to ponder that.
How about
week, though? We're gonna be at Media Row all 5 days at the Phoenix Convention Center every single day.
Oh, well, I'll be there.
Okay.
I'll be there with you.
You can play a little golden tea. You get some golden tea in there. A little video game. Thank you, Rick. We love you.
Oh, man. See you next week,
Hey, buddy. That's Rick Coro, Sports Professor. Follow him on Twitter at Rick Coro. Hey, coming up, Georgetown sets a Big East record. It's not a good one, as Patrick Ewing's got hot seat right now. He is in the hot seat. And if you live in Surprise, Arizona, Surprise, you may not want to have a dog. Oop. Yeah, stick around for that. It's Roc and Manuch at GBB, Fox Sports Line 10.
Happy National Birthday. Yep. Happy what? National Birthday, huh?
Larry Bird.
Oh, I see.
Sue Bird.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
got you there.
Who else do you think of?
Uh,
Bird names.
Those are the first two that come to my
Larry
mind.
comes right away.
Yeah.
That's probably it. Anyway, 25 years ago on this day, 1998, superstar Sonny Bono skied into a tree
Look out for that tree, Sonny.
and died.
Head on, bang. There's been a
He's only
couple guys.
62.
Yep.
Several people, celebrities have done that before.
I have skied that same trail that he was on too in the past. Yeah, it's at Tahoe, Lake Tahoe. That's where it happened.
Was it? It was green.
It was green. What
Black
do you mean?
diamonds, blue diamonds.
No,
what were
no,
you?
no. Come on.
See,
no.
Manuch, do you know
No,
how it goes?
it is black diamond, then
See,
blue.
Manuch wouldn't know.
No,
That's not something you would know.
Black, so the black
Yeah,
diamond.
it starts at green's the
Yeah,
easiest.
green.
Yes.
Then it goes to blue.
Yes.
Then it goes to black. Then
Yeah.
it goes
Black.
double black diamond.
diamond.
Yeah,
Yeah.
never black diamond. No, thank you.
Okay.
Those are best. You're skiing like Volkswagens.
Oh, my
Like,
God.
you remember the 70s Volkswagens, you know?
Very
Yeah.
good.
Hey, I just thought of another one. How about Mark the Bird Fidrich?
Yes,
Yeah,
that would
very
work.
good.
That would work.
Okay, very
very good.
I'm
Joyce Tiger.
just not a pretty face.
I know. I
Okay.
noticed that.
Thank you, Jim.
19 years ago, 2004, one of my favorite players growing up, he was a legend. Tug McGraw was, he died of brain cancer at the age of 59. You may know his son, Tim McGraw.
Correct.
Tug McGraw was the player that asked me specifically when I was on Captain Kangaroo as a kid, what's the most important pitch in baseball?
And it is.
And I said curveball. And the little kid next to me, I don't know who he was, I was too young. He said fastball, and we were both wrong.
Yep.
The most important pitch in baseball is a strike.
There you go.
There you have it. Speaking of pitchers, Nolan Ryan on this day back in 1999, the first year of eligibility, was elected in the Hall of Fame by the Baseball Writers Association. He also went in with George Brett and Robin Yount.
That's good company.
Yes, Robin Yount, the guy I was fortunate enough to play some golf with a few times in a couple of golf tournaments. Guy could play.
Yeah.
His
brother Larry.
Was my boss
Wow.
as I was with the Phoenix Firebirds. He was our president of the Phoenix Firebirds back in the 90s.
Both of them could crush the golf ball.
Oh, big time. Carlton Fisk finished fourth in the voting that year. He missed by 43 votes. Randy Johnson on this day won his 300th game in 2010. He was with the San Francisco Giants. He announced he was retiring after 22 years, that is, if you recall. Started his career with the Montreal Expos in 1988.
How about this? I just thought of another one. Randy, don't hit that bird, Johnson.
Yes,
Very good. All right. The juices are flowing.
borderline.
Yeah. Prevagen's kicking in, Rock.
Borderline.
He's on a roll, right?
I don't know if I would say he's on a roll. I don't know if I would say that. Hey, today's On This Day report, it's powered by 72 Sold, America's leading home selling program. Home sellers, you know it's a tough market out there. However, it's turning. If you were listening to this show, well, you weren't, but before we went on the air, speaking to my two partners here, Manuch and Jimmy B, the market's great. Inflation's down. It's the market's perfect. There's no issues in our world right now. So it's the time to go sell your home. So you're making a mistake.
Things are getting better, Rock.
Yeah.
Getting better.
72 Sold has a solution in this market, good or bad, if you like it or not, or whoever, what side you listen to. Let 72 Sold show you the top market price for your home. Go to 72sold.com. All right, Jimmy, go ahead. Say what you're going to say. I feel you.
You feel me coming on here?
Yeah, I feel it from the other table.
Another bird
feel
scenario?
No, it's not.
No, it's going to be political.
No, I'm just going to say, watching on television, it's like a Saturday Night Live skit.
Yes, it is.
Watching
right now.
the Republicans. It's
Right now, I will give you credit on that.
It's Saturday Night Live. That's what it
The
is.
GOP's
Yes.
the speaker deal is an absolute embarrassment.
There you go.
And I think many Republicans like myself
Yes.
would agree to
Yeah,
that.
good. Okay.
But I'll take that challenge
That's all.
that we have today
Yeah, I know.
against what we've seen the last 2.5 years with this administration. Hey, Georgetown
Yeah.
set a Big East record with its 25th consecutive conference defeat, losing to Villanova at home 73-57. 25 straight Big East games. That's the longest streak in the history of the league. Their last win came March 2nd of last year. They've actually lost its last 30 games against higher major opponents. And I think Georgetown's got to make a decision
They wouldn't
on
dare.
Patrick Ewing.
They wouldn't dare.
I got another one.
think
The prodigal
so.
son. The prodigal son
I
would be
think so.
fired.
Yeah.
I think that's one of those. Hey, either Patrick they sit him down and go, look, either you resign or we're going to have to fire you. I think that if they give him the option, to go out gracefully, because if they're not seeing any progress whatsoever,
there's no progress.
Somebody's got to be that guy that goes, I don't want to be the guy that fires him. You fire him.
You fire Patrick Ewing.
Patrick Ewing, Hall of Fame.
It happens to everybody.
There's his name in the rafters.
Yeah, it sucks. He hates playing Villanova. You know that.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yep.
Random fact today brought to you by Chevy, Valley Chevy Dealers. Walking your dog can be a walk in the park, Manuch. But there is a company called Lawn Starter that ranked the 2023 best cities to walk your dog.
Okay.
Now, going to break, I said Surprise. If you live in Surprise, you don't want to have a dog.
Wow.
Because Surprise was one of the worst places to walk your dog in the country. There were 200 cities that highlights, lowlights from this report. But lowlights, if you're a high number, they were 196 out of 200.
Wow. Not enough dog parks, not enough walking areas, not enough green belts and Surprise.
Exactly. I mean, walkability, safety,
right.
Access to trails. I mean, you hear so much how nice Surprise is. But if you can't have a dog, I'm not moving there.
And it's that city's
so damn
growing
over there too.
Growing and growing and growing. Yeah.
Scottsdale came in at 21.
Okay.
Positive side.
That's good.
Phoenix 26, Peoria 65, Mesa 82, Tempe 100, Tucson was 104, Chandler 124, Glendale 166.
Wow.
And then Surprise 196.
See, I think of the dog parks that should be in those cities in that area, green belts. And, of course, once it gets to about end of May, June, if you're not walking your dog bright and early in the morning or later at night because of the heat.
This is where Surprise is clumped up with. Jackson, Mississippi was the worst.
Wow.
Montgomery, Alabama.
Wow.
Memphis, Tennessee, and Little Rock, Arkansas, then Surprise. Then Detroit. Really?
Really?
Surprise? Now, best places to walk your dog.
Okay.
San Francisco, Colorado Springs, I could agree with that. Glendale, California, Portland, Oregon, and then Oakland. I don't know about that.
I don't know about that one.
Then L.A., San Diego, Boise, and Naperville, Illinois.
Well, a lot of that could be weather. It could be amenability to parks or all those kind of things. A lot of those.
Surprise is beautiful weather.
Well, I mean, in the summertime, it's not. If you look on average the entire year, from basically end of May until end of September, early October, it's hot. So by the time you watch them early or you walk them early or walk them late.
People are pissed off. And they're like, yeah, I live in Surprise. I got dogs. I'm just reporting.
You're dogging my city.
Yeah. Hey, I got one more for you.
Yeah, you didn't even get that one right over here.
I got it. Otis Birdsong.
That works.
The bird.
National Bird Day. Name your top sports bird athletes.
We're glad this is a top
Roc and Manuch on Twitter.
Get me kicked in with that bird. He's alive and well, man.
Last time you had a birdie. It's been a while.
and Roll. In Iraq and need a check? Make one call.
There's some weird thing going around.
602-977-1900. And always online at learnerandroll.com. Now time for Calling All Sports with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. On Fox 910.
At Twin Peaks Scottsdale. Of course, we're giving away that custom patio grill set, and we only have a few more weeks that you can register. You can register daily by just texting Peaks to 55678. That's Peaks to 55678. He also has got the Fan Pick'em at fanpick'em.com where you can win some Twin Peaks man cards. Both of those promotions are part of our great partnership with Twin Peaks Blue Moon and Coors Light. So we'll be making some announcements on the big game parties here at Twin Peaks coming up over the next week or two. So we'll have those to pass along, as well as 4 locations and a 5th getting ready to open. At the end of this hour, you will have an opportunity to win one of those Twin Peaks gift cards, as we'll do our Peaks Picks, which is also brought to you by Coors Light and Blue Moon. You get the drift, who our 2 partners are today. Blue Moon and Coors Light. Let's get to top stories and then our Valley Chevy Dealers Play of the Night.
Time for the top local and
Hey, I go West Potted Down. Rock, I have the top plays like sounder.
Sports Bar.
Do you want me to play that or no?
Bet big on your favorite teams and players in an environment that.
All right, yeah, sounds good. Just set up the 2 sounds and I'll play.
To get in on the action, the sports book at CAC Sports Bar.
Gotcha.
Nice. What's your
Hey, here's a hat.
story this hour?
Start with the Suns as they fell once again, as I think many of us are getting a little disturbed. We're not happy what we're seeing. You lose to Cleveland 90-88. They were moving so slow, the Cavs, after they've been playing a bunch of games, as the Suns have as well. But they are home now as they will host the Miami Heat tomorrow. But they went on this road trip, and it was not good. They finished 1-5. They're 20-19 overall. They lose against the Heat. They're 500. No pushing of the button yet?
Well, no, I don't. The thing is, you got to go get some help. You just have to. They've lost 13 out of 17 now. And you look at this losing streak; it's pretty consistent. And they just couldn't make any shots. Had a chance to win that game. Bridges 1 for 4 in the fourth quarter. Yeah, DA 1 for 4 in the fourth quarter. Fortunately, you had CP3 hot. He kind of pretty much kept the game. Very good to see him play some defense. Hell, the way the game was played the first half, the first one to basically 70 was going to win this game. I was watching UConn versus Syracuse in a defensive struggle. Thank God they played a little defense. But again, I think you just continue to feed DA the basketball no matter what, even though he's 1 for 4. Bonnie talked about you got to get him the ball more. Well, okay, we all know that.
Yeah.
Get him the ball more.
I've been screaming
get him the ball. Was he 7 for 12 last night?
7 for 12.
That's it?
Only 12 shots. He's got to take 20, and maybe even 25. And I've been yelling for that, and for some reason, they just seem to get him around 12 to 13 shots. And with no Devin Booker, with no Cam Johnson, you are lacking the opportunity to score. Where is it? Where is the best place to score? Right by the basket.
Down low.
Yeah. Right by the basket. You have a better chance of the ball going in if you are close to the basket. And yet they decide that they're just not going to give the ball. I'm highly disappointed in that.
The one thing you think about is, he went bigs a couple games ago that they won. They matched up a few games ago, but Sarge was in the game. All the starters scored double figures. It just was nobody there at the end of the game to close the deal. And you're always looking forward to D-Book to help close the deal, or CP3 did all he could do. But you're a big guy.
Yes.
And the guy you're relying on mostly, Mikal Bridges, were nowhere to be. I mean, they couldn't hit any shots in that fourth quarter.
15 shots. He was 3 of 15, including the last shot of the game. And he missed it. All right, players miss. I get that. But he was 2 of 14 at the time when he took that shot. I know they had to have somebody taking he happened to have a good look at it, and he missed it. Shamet was 4 of 12. In other words, when your big guy, who, by the way, also had 18 rebounds to go along with his 15 points, only gets 12 opportunities when he is 2 feet from the basket. 2 stinking feet from the basket in a close game, and you are not getting him the ball. That's just critical, and that's poor coaching, and it's poor play by the Suns.
Well, now they come home and hopefully against Miami tomorrow night, they can get this ship uprighted and get themselves back to a semblance of closing out games, being competitive. Now we're at the point of, well, at least they were competitive. What?
Yeah.
It's the Phoenix Suns. It's a team that won 64 games.
This was a team that was, as Rock said, they were in first place not that long ago.
I'm just concerned about Bridges.
Yeah.
Yes.
He has not played well over the last few weeks. And when you need him the most, it's now with Devin Booker on the sideline.
Correct.
And I just don't know. What do you want out of him? He's averaging 15 points a game. You need what, 20? You need 18, 20 points from him.
Well, he's the other
4 or 5 assists.
Well, he's the true.
Boards.
He's going to have to be that true scorer because Shamet and Washington and the other guys, when they get hot, they're good. But they need him as more of a consistent scorer. And your point, Rock, I don't think he's the consistency we thought he would be. Now, he's consistent when Cam Johnson's in the lineup, when Devin Booker's in the lineup.
No pressure on him.
No pressure on him.
There you go.
And I think that it's to that point, Jimmy, that this pressure of having to and make sure he's always that guy. I don't know if it's catching up to him or he's in a slump or what. Now, he admitted it after the game, saying, look, I had a shot, I just missed it.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
But you need guys like that to close it out. Or feed it down low
And
to a guy that can let him
Yes.
give him a chance to close it out.
You only needed a 2-pointer to tie the game. So if it's me, I'm setting up and trying to get the ball into Aiton's hands.
He's averaging over like 35 minutes a game.
Yeah.
All right, played 35 last night, 36 against the Knicks, 10 points in both games.
Yeah. I know, not enough.
So
we love this guy, right?
Yes,
I think Suns fans love this guy.
Yes.
But if you're trying to turn this thing around, is he one of the guys that you're going to consider when you got to trade? If you want you want more players, you want better players. Unfortunately, you got to trade some of your best players too.
if you could trade him for a better player to the fact that on a consistent basis he fits into that locker room or as part of that culture, yeah, they would take that. But until they can make those moves, or this whole Robert Sarver thing, I know they can make moves, but it's antiquated as to how do they make the moves since he can't be involved, technically speaking.
And we talked about that before this got announced that this team was sold.
Right.
And everybody's asking, why aren't they making trades?
Yeah.
This is exactly why they weren't making trades.
Exactly.
You're selling the team.
Yeah. I would trade Bridges for Lauri Markkanen right now in a heartbeat.
Why would they trade him? Markkanen would not.
No, I know.
He's the best player on that team.
I know, but I'm just saying
That's not realistic.
No, but the point is that Danny Ainge, now in charge of the Utah Jazz, wants to build picks in the draft. So you would get Bridges, who is a quality player, not a star, but a quality player, and maybe a number one for Markkanen. I just tossed that out. Markkanen has come on in his game in the last 2 years.
He's averaging 24 points a game.
Playing great.
He's a
power forward.
Yes. And
Bridges is a small forward.
Correct.
You'd have to give Danny Ainge a lot more if you're going to
I'm
give
just saying.
Markkanen away.
Markkanen, hear these numbers. The last 5 games for Markkanen.
Okay.
28 points, 29 points, 36 points, 29 points, 32. And they lost all those games.
Yes.
Jimmy, he's not going anywhere.
No. I'm not going to disagree with that.
Yeah.
I was just saying, for Bridges, they're not making that move.
No.
Maybe a couple firsts,
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
You better
Markkanen's an all-star.
You better throw a lot
hands down.
more in than
2 minutes.
a straight-up trade with Bridges.
But Utah already cleaned house already.
They did.
Are you think they're going to continue?
They may, depending on what is offered for them. Because
And they're not that much off than what the Suns are.
No.
They're 19 and 21.
Yes.
The Suns are 20 and 19.
yeah. I mean, to me,
I think
Utah's the surprise team of the
I
league.
think Danny
along
would
with Sacramento.
probably hang up on you, and then you go, wait, Danny, you didn't hear the other 3 picks I'm throwing in plus cash for Bridges, and then when he hung up on the second time, I think you get the point. I mean, it's you think of where the help's going to come from, and when you got Crowder there, and you can't move on, or I don't know why James Jones can't. They say technically they can. Well, then why haven't you done it already? Why haven't you got more help? This team right now, guys, it'll be the end of January or mid-February by the time you see Booker or Johnson
I
back.
think they're asking too much for Crowder. Teams aren't going to offer
Yeah.
it up.
We don't know that. We
Yeah,
don't
I
know
know
that.
that.
Well,
but-
he's making $10 million a year.
1 minute.
So who wants to pick him up, pay the freight?
I don't think money is ever an object anymore in
I'm
the
with
NBA,
you.
especially.
Yeah.
Depends
really
what
don't.
comes with it, I
Because
think.
you hear how much these guys are getting paid, it's just crazy, absolutely crazy. When teams are going for $4 or $5 billion, you guys talked about it yesterday with the Dallas Mavericks. Oh, that go for $5.
Yes,
Yeah.
they will.
I think the way that the other thing that is against, I think, Jay Crowder's way into the season, he really struggled. I think we saw age catch up with him, the inconsistency. So a lot of teams are going, well, okay, we get him for a year, we rent him for a year, but are we going to get what we've seen the last couple of years when he really faded last year in the playoffs?
Let's get to our Valley Chevy Dealers play of the night. We're going to take you back to last night's Bucks-Raptors game. Now, it's a two-parter. You're going to first hear Toronto's Gary Trent hits a 3 to tie the game with 0.6 seconds, and then how the game ended with Giannis and Allen.
Barnes slips the
You want him back to back, Rock? All right, will do. You're hot.
double team. Lopez on him. Got a mismatch for the tie. Giannis touches the paint. Sprays it out. Allen got it. Butter. Giannis with
How about that? Giannis and the Bucks, they took care of the Raptors in overtime, 104 to 101. The game was tied, as I said. Grayson Allen nailed that three-pointer with just 10 seconds left in overtime to give them the win. Great Creek, once again, he stuffed the stat sheet. 30 points, 21 boards, 10 assists, triple-double.
No, he had 12 turnovers, so he had a quadruple double.
He had a bunch in the first half. I don't know what happened there. So today's play tonight is brought to you by the Valley Chevy Dealers. Your Valley Chevy Dealers serving the Valley for over 80 years. Find new roads at your Chevy dealer. Head to valleychevydealer.com. Wow.
Is Grayson Allen now the most hated guy in the NBA since Danny Ainge?
No, there's somebody that's ahead of him.
Now?
Yes. Think about it. Chris Paul.
Oh, no, what's his name?
Pat Bev.
Yeah, Pat Beverly.
Yeah.
Pat Beverly.
I think he's the biggest a-hole.
You think? Oh,
Yeah, I think
okay.
so.
Even more than
he's-
Grayson Allen? Grayson Allen's gaining on him. Then.
I know, but Grayson Allen hasn't been kicked out. Has he been kicked out of the game?
he hasn't. No.
Beverly,
Yeah.
I think a lot of Suns fans would probably, if we had a State for Avery Biggest question today, I think we should
Pat
probably.
Beverly?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
it'd be Pat.
Okay.
Don't you guys think? I mean,
Pat Beverly.
Now that you mention that, yeah,
It's
I can
Beverly.
see
he's
that.
such a jerk.
By the way,
But if he's on your team, you love
you
him.
like him. Lakers won last night with no
Without?
Anthony Davis and no LeBron, and they won.
Watch out for the Lakers.
Yep.
Hey, Bengals coach Zach Taylor. You're going to hear from him next. Talk about how the Bills coach McDermott handled being with his players when it all went down. And if we have some time, if you've been following the Skip Bayless and the tweet he had out, and he blew a gasket after Shannon Sharp asked him about it and asked him to tweet or delete the tweet that he had put out there. So if we have some time, we'll play that next. It's Fox Sports 910. We're at Twin Peaks in Scottsdale.
So good level sound.
We do have to move forward as a team. We have to move in because we do have a game to play on Sunday, and then we do have to move focus towards that. But at the same time, you don't have to move past the situation that's happening right now, and we can still provide support for the players that need more of that, for their family who's still 2 miles away here at University Hospital, for the Bills. So you're to have space to do that. At the same time, as a team, move forward to focusing on Baltimore on Sunday.
That's the coach, Coach Taylor of Cincinnati. Talking about moving on for Sunday. It's almost official that the official announcement of the Week 17 Bills-Bengals game won't resume. According to Pro Football Talk earlier this afternoon, they explained that the game most likely won't continue and that the league was otherwise trying to determine playoff seeding, given that the Bills and Bengals will finish the season with only 16 games each. So Associated Press is reporting that this game will not continue, which we all believe is the case. But a press conference just happened by the NFL Players Association at 2 o'clock. And once we get some of that information and it's published, we'll pass some of that along regarding the Damar Hamlin situation. So there's no firm reporting on it yet as of 2:20. But again, they had a press conference 4 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock local. And we'll have something to pass along once we get it.
I think from the Players Association, they're probably going to figure whatever is fair and equitable under the circumstance with both those teams and how it affects the league. And I think with both the league and the NFL Players Association being in contact with each other constantly with this press conference to kind of come to some kind of a resolution and moving this forward. The thing I like about this, guys, is that they're dealing with it right now. They can come to some kind of a decision tonight or tomorrow, because these teams have got to know, okay, is it a tie? Is it a draw? Do we both get a victory? What are the ramifications for the teams you're playing against? So for the Patriots who are playing the Bills, they want to know, okay, what are we in store for? And when you're talking about Cincinnati taking on the Ravens, what are the Ravens in store for? Because if most of these teams have made the playoffs or on the cusp of making the playoffs, how's that going to affect them, knowing what the ramifications are going to be one way or the other?
So I think a lot of what the NFL and the NFLPA are doing, they've been waiting for some news, right?
Yep.
And we do have some news, Ben, when you're ready, of the doctors from the University of Cincinnati Medical Center and what they had said today. It's short, but at least gives you an idea of the progress, the significant progress that Hamlin is having.
The Bear is one of our partners. We're partners. When he asked, "Did we win?" the answer is yes. Damar, you won. You won the game of life, and that's probably the most important thing out of this. We really need to keep him at the center of everything else that's going on, and we really want to ensure a good outcome for him.
So they're the doctors referring to the first communication that anyone had with Damar, and it was the ability to communicate in writing, not by speaking. He did move his hands, did move his feet. So that is just outstanding news.
Yeah, and you think of that they say he's neurologically healthy.
Correct.
His lungs getting healthier. That's huge.
Which the folks that act like doctors on Twitter and and the talking heads that should stay in their lane have said things like he's never going to be able to do this, never going to do that, and no one knows that yet unless people that are there, right?
Yes. You just let it open his eyes and he's breathing. I mean, and one of the main reasons why he's having trouble talking is because when it intubated him, got the tube going down his throat as far as oxygen and all that, and a lot of times if that's in you for several days, it's just tough to talk because of your vocal cords and your Adam's apple. And I am just so glad in reference to watching that hit that T. Higgins hit him. That my initial thoughts were he didn't crush his Adam's apple. They had to perform a tracheotomy on him and cut that area where the Adam's apple is and put the trach down that area.
Here's a little sidebar to what you just talked about with Higgins. Higgins has not left that hospital. No. He has stayed there the entire time.
And the Hamlin family came out and said, hey, media, social media, whatever, stay off of Higgins.
Yes.
Absolutely.
He was just running with the ball.
Yeah.
It's a freak accident. That's all it was.
Yeah.
I can't imagine anybody hammering Higgins for that. I really can't.
Oh, they were all over him.
It's just the ignorance of people that are out there, just absolute ignorance.
And the GoFundMe page, for his charity Earlier this morning it was 7.3 million.
Unbelievable.
That's amazing. I guess I think a lot of people, maybe not, or you're kind of thinking about how this is all going to unfold. Are we going to see him come out of the hospital walking?
Yes, we will.
And what is that going to mean to how? Because what's going to happen is all the media members out there that are just naysayers are looking for the dirt, looking for that story, right?
Right.
And are probably going to say, "Oh, the NFL did it wrong," or "So and so did it wrong." Right? Am I
Sure.
talking?
There's always that person.
But there's multiple people that'll be like that. That'll come out and say that the NFL should not have canceled that game. He's fine. Which is a bunch of BS, right?
Correct.
And I just don't know where it's going to go. We don't know. But I feel so much better when I'm literally crying. I mean, I'll be the first to say it. I cried during movies. I bawled my eyes out watching that game.
I teared up.
I'm literally saying, because I thought the worst.
Yes.
And because I'm like, how can it not be the worst?
Yeah.
Because of what was going on. And we didn't know. Mm-hmm. And you're only relying on ESPN and ABC and what they're reporting and what they're being told. And you got to give them all the credit in the world for being in that situation.
I thought they handled it.
We all three of us have been in situations where someone has passed away and you got to go on air and you got to talk about it. Pat Tillman is one. That you don't have that much information and all you're doing is giving your reaction. But I got frustrated because I'm watching on Twitter for information. I'm live and I want to know what's going on. And I'm seeing some of the tweets, and I thought people got a little out of hand about why they didn't call the game soon enough. What's the rush?
Yeah.
The game is going to get canceled. They pulled them off. The game is get canceled. And Manuch, isn't it standard in the National Football League that if a guy goes down, gets hurt, and then, he gets stretcher off or whatever, there's usually that warm-up period, right?
Yeah, sure.
It's just automatic.
Sure.
It's part of the routine.
They were going to give them
15 minutes, whatever it is.
Whatever it took, they were going to give them that amount of
But
time.
people on Twitter are like, oh, what are they doing? They can't play this game. I'm saying to myself, they're not going to play this game.
They're going to take every precaution, whether it's a neck injury or something like this or whatever, just to make sure that the thing that kind of got to me was when you saw Josh Allen and some of the other guys in tears, like, wow. And because you saw them circled, then you knew that something was going on.
It was real bad.
But when you saw their reaction, really bad. And at that point I went, you know what? You watch these players and come together and all that. I went at that point, you know what? Let's just call it a night. And they did. They took their time to make sure.
Yeah.
And the commissioner had to get involved and everybody. I'm like you, Rock. What's the hurry? Let's just take care of the problem on the field right now and then deal with it.
I thought it was interesting what Coach Taylor said about Coach McDermott yesterday in his presser. Here he is talking about the respect he has for Coach for being there for his players.
When I got over there, the first thing he said was, I need to be at the hospital tomorrow, and I shouldn't be coaching this game. And so that, to me, provides all the clarity, because there was no unprecedented is the word that gets thrown out a lot about this situation, because that's what it is. But in that moment, he really showed who he was, that all his focus was just on DeMar and being there for him, being there for his family at the hospital. And at that point, I think everything trended in the direction it needed to trend, and the right decisions were made there. But again, just the way that I really felt Sean McDermott led in that moment for his players. He was there for his players. He processed the right way, which is incredibly difficult, and really helped us get to the solution that we needed to get to.
Bengals head coach Zach Taylor yesterday.
Yeah, and I think that he everybody that got involved with this yesterday, the right thing, let's just move on. Your concern at that time, obviously, is for DeMar, but the players, just that community. And Rock, I got to tell you, with the shooting back in May 14th this year, with the storms, the loss of life of this last storm, this situation, the city of Buffalo has just gone through a lot. And you think back about it and go, wow. I mean, it'd be so apropos that they've come out of this, and once DeMar gets back up and running, and that this team go through the playoffs, and maybe at the end of that proverbial rainbow is the Super Bowl after all that they've been through for them to go through this. But you got the community and the players helping at the shooting, and the community coming together, help the players get to their homes for games, and how they went 3 games in 12 days because of the storm. I mean, so much happened to the city. You just go, something good eventually will come out of it.
Yeah, maybe a Super Bowl.
That's what I'm saying.
How about that storyline? that book. Hey, if you're shopping for a mortgage, we all know big banks can be a big hassle. But you can call GC Global Capital. They're a licensed and bonded mortgage broker here in the state of Arizona. Work with a local team of mortgage experts for lower rates, lower fees, more options, and faster closings. Rates are now in the mid 5%. Has been a long time for that. It's a buyer's market. Buy now before the frenzy starts all over, not to mention all the visitors come in town. Call the professionals at GC Global Capital. The phone number is 480-397-9300. Values have come down over 10%, so it makes it a great time to buy. Find out what you can buy and get improved. You can get approved in less than 10 minutes, but you got to call GC Global Capital now. They're open, 480-397-9300. Your local mortgage professionals, that's GC Global Capital, 480-397-9300. Coming up, Howard Balzer, Cardinals insider, latest on this game on Sunday, the last one of the season for the Cardinals. We'll get his take on the quarterback and everything else. It's Roc and Manuch, Jimmy B on Fox Sports 910.
Yeah, David will start. Last week he didn't get the full process. Just
You guys are out top
I just want to see what he can do. The full process and see kind of how he plays against really good defense.
David Blau gets the start. That's the coach, Cliff Kingsbury. Could be the last game we see of him as the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. Been a good ride.
It has. Last year was a good ride. till the end of the season.
Yeah.
It always seems like the end of the season is one of those bumpy, very bumpy rides. All 4 years.
I know.
All 4 years.
It seems like the last 2 months have been extremely
Well,
bumpy.
it has been the worst of the worst.
Howard Balzer, Cardinals NFL reporter for Go PHNX, joins us now on the right Toyota guest line. You can always follow him on Twitter at hbalzer721. How are we doing today, Howard? Happy New Year, bud.
Happy New Year to you guys, and doing well. Hope you all are also.
What do you want to see on Sunday with David Blau first?
Just want to see him compete. I thought he competed well last week. Obviously, it wasn't against a great football team, but this will be a bigger challenge going against that 49ers defense. A team that probably has the defensive player of the year in Nick Bosa. And even though they gave up a lot more points than people thought they would against Las Vegas, this is a heck of a defense. And so I'm going to be very curious to see how he does, obviously, with the offensive personnel that he has. There won't be DeAndre Hopkins, obviously. We don't know the health of James Conner yet, who suffered the shin injury last week. And so, we'll see. We'll see how he's able to operate that offense against one of the better defenses in the NFL. And I think that's one of the things that Cliff Kingsbury said. I think everyone expected him to probably get the start, but that was one of the things he said he wanted to see. Let's see now, after last week was thrust upon him on Friday that he was going to be the starter after being with the team for just a little over 2 weeks. And now let's see what he does against, a really, really good football team. So, again, we'll see. I don't know that we can expect a whole lot, but, bottom line, don't make mistakes, don't commit turnovers, and let's see if you can somehow keep this a close game. But that's going to be a tough challenge, obviously.
And it's also interesting. It looks like Billy Price and Beecham are both questionable, at least for now. I would hope you have as many potential offensive linemen, maybe max protect, whatever, for David Blau. But the one thing I really liked, I've been talking about all week, Howard, is the young man likes to throw the ball down the field, stretch the field, and we haven't really seen that most of the season on a consistent basis.
No, you're right. And, they took some shots, and one of them hit, which was good to see. And they got, obviously, Trey McBride, who's getting better and better every week, getting him more involved, in the offense. And I think a lot of it was like, hey, why not? David Blau said, hey, I'm going to cut it loose. And so you go, what do you got to lose, at this point? It's not as much about winning the game, so to speak, as it is about let's just see what a guy is capable of. I think with Price and Beecham, I expect them to play. They both were questionable last week and still played. And Kelvin Beecham, of course, had the knee and ankle injury a couple of weeks ago, and he came back in that game with the injury, and it just kept working at it. The one positive, a little bit, is this offensive line is playing now. This will be assuming those guys play, this will be their fourth consecutive game together, and that's a high watermark for the season. Just that they've had 3 games, and there was one 3-game stretch in week 2, 3, and 4 when DJ Humphries, Justin Pugh, Rodney Hudson, remember those guys?
Yeah.
And then Will Hernandez and Beecham starting 3 games in a row. That's been the most of any offensive line combination playing in a row this season. So, that's the continuity is good, even if you say, obviously, from center to left tackle, it's not quite what it would have been had you had Hudson, Pugh, and Humphries all season.
Howard, have you heard anything at all about Cliff Kingsbury's job? There's been nothing from Bidwell, no endorsement, no kiss of death, so to speak. And I'm just curious, does he get a get out of jail card with all of the injuries this season?
Well, that's what everybody's wondered about. No, I haven't heard anything. There was a report yesterday on the Outkick.com thing, website, that the decision is made and Kingsbury will be fired, according to sources. Well, the only source is Michael Bidwell. Yeah. And unless he's talking to somebody, then nobody really knows. And I don't think anybody knows what he's going to do. Would I be surprised at either decision? No, I wouldn't be surprised at either decision. I do think it's almost impossible to evaluate a guy. And I think a lot of the criticism of Keith Kingsbury is rooted in the fact that a lot of people never thought he should have got the job to begin with. And so now that it's gone through a very, very, very tough stretch, but it's all proving he never should have got the job. Well, when he's had a healthy team, they play pretty good offensive football. And so like I said, I wouldn't be surprised either way it goes, but I do think that whoever the coach was this year, I mean, when I talk about this, I always make it a point to talk about other teams. Look at the Rams, right? Look at the Titans, who have had an incredible number of injuries that have affected them over the last 6 weeks, and they've lost 6 games in a row to fall from 7-3 to 7-9. And so when you have those things on your team, it's one thing to say injuries are an excuse and you got to coach the backups and all that. But think of this. In last week's game against Atlanta, the Cardinals had 14 backups playing on offense and defense combined. 14 backups. You can't have enough depth to overcome that. So I think it's very hard to evaluate a coach on that. Hey, David Ball played pretty well last week. I think everyone looks at that. But I haven't heard any of the critics say, hey, Cliff Kingsbury did a pretty good job preparing that guy to play in that game with 1 day of practice and 2 weeks on the team. I haven't heard anybody say that. And, they're doing what they can with the personnel there. And I don't know that any other coach would have done much better with this team considering all the things that have happened. Kelvin Beachum described it yesterday as treacherous, what's happened in this team all throughout the offseason and the regular season. And I'll say this one thing too. Football is about execution, players making plays. And I thought it was interesting last night on Hard Knocks seeing J.J. Watt, and he said it after the game. I played like, and he used the word that starts with S. And I said, well, okay, you jumped off sides, big deal. But then he took responsibility in the show last night when he talked to his teammates for being in the wrong gap on the Cordell Peterson 22-yard run on that last drive, and then said, I was over-aggressive wanting to make up for that when I jumped into the neutral zone. That's a Hall of Famer who did that. That's a Hall of Famer. So those things happen in games, and the teams that do that less or can overcome it are the teams that win. But does anybody say that's Vance Joseph's fault that J.J. Watt did that? That's football. And it's all about, and I've always believed, and I'll always believe it, it's about execution. So like I said, go back to the original question. I don't know what Michael Bidwell is going to do. I wouldn't be surprised by any result, but I'll tell you, another coach coming in, has to somehow be able to keep everybody healthy, because you're not going to win in this league if your best players are not on the field, obviously.
How would you say that for Michael Bidwell? You talk about a moment in time with he's got to get a new GM. He's either going to keep a coach or fire a coach. This is probably one of those fork in the road kind of scenarios that Michael Bidwell is going to have to face as the full-time owner for this Arizona Cardinals team, I would believe.
No, you're 100% right. And what will you do as general manager? I mean, what is the future of Steve Keim, if there is one? If they've decided to move on from him, then will one of the lieutenants get the job, whether it's Adrian Wilson or Quentin Harris? Will we try to hire someone from outside, which of course affects the process in terms of going forward and potentially getting the coach you want, depending on how much the general manager is involved in that. You also have a somewhat complication is that let's say you're going to get a new coach. Well, that has to be a coach, let's be honest, that buys into Kyler Murray as the team's quarterback. So I believe there's probably offensive coordinators in this league who don't want to coach, and it's nothing against him personally. It's the style of play. And Kyler Murray is now on his 6th injury in 4 seasons, 5 to his legs. Right? Look at Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. Hasn't been on the field at the end of 2 seasons. Look at Justin Fields. As good as he's played at times this year, the injuries that he's suffered. Look at Robert Griffin III. I think there's some coaches who don't think that that's sustainable, and as talented as Kyler Murray can be, would rather just coach a more traditional quarterback. And on Kyler Murray's point, you don't even know when he's going to be ready to play next year. And if you're a guy that hasn't been a coach before, you've got one shot at this brass ring, right? And how many times have we seen guys get that shot and they last 1 year, right? Or 2 seasons. Well, if that's the time frame you're under, well, who knows when Kyler Murray's going to be Kyler Murray coming back from this injury. So I think to a degree that some disagree with me, that's fine. But I think to a degree that complicates a potential search for a head coach.
So next Thursday when we talk to you, will Cliff Kingsbury be still the head coach? Come on.
I was hoping you wouldn't get asked that. Can I flip a coin? And then, but if I win the toss, I'll defer. How's that for the second half?
No. You're not ever happy to you guys.
You're not running for governor here, brother.
Yeah.
I know, but and they said I can throw a dart, to the dartboard and say, okay, I think he'll be the coach. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I think you're listening, I might be wrong.
Yes.
I mean, what's the difference?
Yes or no, Howard? Just a simple yes or no.
Well, the Dallas Cowboys. No, never mind.
He's doing the he's
I should have gave him some other teams first.
Yeah,
we got to warm him up, Howard, as always, thank you for the time, buddy. Appreciate the insight.
All right, guys, take care.
Howard Balzer, driven by All City Towing today, as All City Towing continues to hire in 2023, as they have current full-time positions available, incredible benefits, a 401k program, a generous company match. And the fastest way to apply is online. Just search on allcitytowing.com careers. That's right. Go to allcitytowing.com and search careers, or you can always call the HR department at 480-833-7278. That's 833-7278. But it's easier just to go to allcitytowing.com. Well, coming up, it's time for this week's Twin Peaks Picks, powered by Coors Light and Blue Moon. We'll take the fifth caller at 602-260-9191. And you'll be playing for a $25 man card, which is good for a few ice-cold Coors Lights, the man-sized beers here. So fifth caller, 602-260-9191. It's a Twin Peaks Picks Challenge here on Fox Sports 910.
It's Peaks Picks. The Twin Peaks girls are the essential ingredient to the perfect lodge experience. Each week, our girl next door Twin Peaks contestant takes on a Fox Sports 910 listener for 3 games. Get the most picks right and win a $25 man card for one of the 4 Valley Twin Peaks locations: Scottsdale, Phoenix, Glendale, and Tempe. Don't forget man-sized Coors Light draft specials every Thursday at Twin Peaks. Time for Peaks Picks.
Guys are hot.
All right, we do it every week at a different Twin Peaks. I remember we started out with 1, then there was 2,
Yep.
then there was 3, then there was 4 Twin Peaks. In about a month, we'll be heading to a 5th.
Number 5.
Deer Valley, coming soon. Can't wait. Should be a lot of fun. But today we have Nicole with us here, who has been with us before and I think had a lot of success a couple times, I would think. So she knows the drill. She's competing against Michael and Chandler in the games we're picking today. Cards at 49ers, Lions at Packers, and Giants at Eagles.
Roc's an Eagle fan. You hear the emphasis there? At Eagles.
Unfortunately, so we're on YouTube, we're on Twitter and Facebook, and in front of Nicole is our lineup, which is our Manuch just doesn't get it. He actually put down in front of her the lineup with all the picks from Michael and Chandler already. So she already knows that. So why would you give her our...
We typically do that. Just
we
hold on.
Never just do that. I've been in charge of this for 20 years.
We want to make sure she sees them. We want to make sure that Michael...
Never have done that.
But it's not going to
so,
be...
Nicole, that's not fair. You know, you're getting an edge because you have some pressure today because through the first 18 weeks, the contestant has won 9 times and the Twin Peaks Picks girl has won 9 times.
Yeah, no pressure at all, Nicole. None whatsoever.
So,
Grandpa Manuch decided to give you what the other guy was doing.
It's okay. It won't influence her whatsoever. With
that said, then, Cardinals and 49ers, do you like this one?
49ers.
No brainer? Just 49ers?
No brainer. Cardinals suck.
Cardinals suck. Wow. And she's got the accent going from Alabama there and everything. All right, well, she already knows that Michael took the Niners as well.
All right, Lions at Packers. This is if the Packers got to win, if they got a shot at working it. Now, if the Lions beat them, they got to look for a little help if they make the playoffs. So it's in Green Bay, frozen.
And you already know Michael went with the Lions. Games in Green Bay.
Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. They're hot. They're on a roll. Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay, on a roll. It's your pick, though.
You know what? I'm going to say Packers.
Okay. All right.
You sure about that?
Mm-hmm.
She did very hesitantly.
Do you need to make a call?
Landline.
All right, now we need to score in this one. Eagles hosting the New York Giants at Philadelphia, and a win for the Eagles could give them the first
number 1
seed in the NFC. And we need a score there. Michael's going Eagles 31, Giants 27. So you guys are tied. All right, you're not tied. So you both Niners and you took Packers. He took Lions. So all right, Eagles, Giants. You like?
So
don't know if Jalen Hurts is going to play or not.
I feel like the Eagles have a chance, but I don't think they'll score that much. Because they didn't play good against the Saints last week.
Yeah, there you go.
Look at her.
Well, I'm a Saints fan too.
Oh, are
so
you?
From
okay.
Alabama.
All right.
But my husband's from Buffalo.
God bless him.
So.
Gotta be a hell of a guy.
Oh yes, of course. So I want to say like the Eagles do have a chance, but I don't know.
Score.
I want to say 26 and
Giants may not play a lot of their guys. They're already in no matter what. They're 6 seed no matter what.
Okay,
it's going to be Friday if you don't fix this.
I'll say 21.
26-21.
26-21. Giants or Eagles?
Eagles.
Okay, good. All right, there you have it.
3 minutes.
All right, so there you have it. Nicole is going with the 49ers, the Packers, and the Eagles. Michael and Chandler is going Niners, Lions, and Eagles. So it will come down to that Packer game most likely. So we appreciate that. So, all right. So Alabama. So you're not an Alabama football fan, or you are?
Well, I am, but I love the NFL so much more.
Okay.
Than college.
And your favorite team is the
Saints and the Bills because I'm from Alabama, but my husband's from Buffalo, so obviously I got to root for his team too.
Yes,
I'm married into it.
Yep, absolutely. So. Way to go! I wish more wives and girlfriends felt that way.
That's true.
Oh, I find it so surprising that women aren't into football as much as I see some.
You
girls.
were dialed in. Before we're little, me and Jax. You're breaking it down for us and everything. I love that.
Because you see most girls not know anything. So
yeah.
Oh, yeah. We've had a few of those, but they cover pretty well. They're pretty good. You and Fran out here, you guys are the all-stars.
Mm-hmm.
So
no question. Well, hey, thank you. Have a great weekend. Happy New Year to you.
Of course,
appreciate you.
Happy New Year.
When are you here? So when people want to come out and they want to say, hey, I want to sit in your section or what have you?
So I usually work. So I do work tomorrow morning and Saturday morning. I usually do work like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
So you're here a lot. Mm-hmm. So lunches. Come in here at lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yep.
Good stuff. All right, there you have it.
Thanks,
That's our Peaks Picks today. Brought to you by Coors Light and Miller Lite. Or excuse me, Coors Light and Blue Moon. A little Freudian slip there. By the way, your chance to win our Backyard Grill set is still there. All you got to do is text Peaks to 55678. That's Peaks to 55678. And your standard message and data rates do apply. In hour number 3, we will have our own picks. Our dog picks. Yes, our dog pick of the week. And Manuch, doing quite well.
I'm catching you, Rocky.
Yes, you are. You're right there. It's a one-game difference.
Yeah, I got blown out last week, though.
Pretty excited about that. So got a little competition.
Well, you're doing pretty good there, Rock. The rest of the guys, they're doing fairly well as well, too. But I'd say interesting weekend of games.
Yeah.
Some teams are in,
it's
some
great.
aren't.
It's a great weekend of games. However, it means it's the end of the season, too. That
I know.
kind of bumps me out. Hey, James Jones, the former Packer and Raider, will join us as well at 3:30. So we're coming to you live from the Scottsdale Twin Peaks, and we appreciate you listening. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy V. Bye.
Make
Yes,
one
they do.
call, that's all. All sports with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on Fox Sports.
You guys are hot.
10.
Doctors say Bill's safety. Damar Hamlin is making substantial progress. Currently, there is a press conference going on in Buffalo with Coach McDermott, and we will have some of that sound hopefully before the hour is up, as it's live right now from Orchard Park, as it's the Buffalo Bills news conference. So as soon as we have something to share, we will. The GoFundMe page that went up as Damar Hamlin's when the folks were, kind of going back and forth on social media, and I thought that was interesting when that all first started. I remember seeing the first number at like 100,000,
Yes,
200,000. Yeah. Well, it's at 7.5 million now.
He was hoping just to raise $2,500.
Turn me up.
$2,500. That's all he was hoping to raise.
Yeah,
Amazing. It's amazing.
In the days since that emergency,
Yes.
225,000 people, including fans, players, NFL owners, have all helped raise that money for the Hamlin Foundation.
That is incredible. I mean, that's just absolutely
Generous.
incredible. Young man out of Pittsburgh for raising that money for the Pittsburgh, for the Toys for Tots and Buffalo all over. And there's a lot of good I really feel comes out of bad, and that blessing in disguise sometimes.
Yeah, especially that you were hearing good things.
Yeah,
we're hearing progress.
Yes.
And it makes you feel good that knowing that is the case, and you got to keep praying, keep hoping that is the case, because you just never know these days. We're getting into our top stories, which are brought to you every hour at the top of the hour by the new sports book and the CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona. We're out here at Twin Peaks in Scottsdale every Thursday. We're at one of the 4 locations, soon to be 5. This hour, we will catch up with one James Jones, former Raider and Packer. He will stop by at 3:30. Looking forward to catching up with him. We also have our underdog picks of the week. That's something where we pick the team that we think is going to be the best underdog pick of the week, and that has been a lot of fun, so we'll have some fun with that. And then some other stories that we'll pass along throughout the hour. But I think a big story I've just mentioned, the latest on Damar Hamlin. I think here locally, it's got to be what we're seeing right now with the Phoenix Suns. We all know they're depleted. They're banged up. They've struggled on defense. However, last night they held the Cavs to 90, but they only scored 88, and they fell again, and they lost now their, 4th straight. Now, this road trip is done, which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how they can play at home.
Now they get Miami Heat.
Yes, and then Cleveland again.
Yes.
They were 1-5 on that road trip. They're 20-19 overall in the season. I just don't know what to think of this team because I don't think there's going to be any changes. I think there'll be a small move here or there that doesn't cost the team a lot, but I still think it's just going to be a team that's probably, unfortunately, may squeak into the playoffs, and that's it.
Maybe we overrated their depth at a point in time, Jimmy. Maybe we overrated what Mikal Bridges could do as far as picking up the slack.
It seems to me when you mention him, the pressure of the moment of all of a sudden having to pick up the lack of scoring, which is not in the lineup now with Booker and Cam Johnson on the shelf, is too much for him.
Well, I don't know if it's too much for him.
He went 3 of 15.
Yeah, he's been
He scored 10 points last year.
Yeah.
Now 21 against Toronto.
Yeah,
but before that, I think it was 17 or whatever it may have been. But
he's not the consistent guy that you would hope that he would be as far as putting points on the board. He just seems to struggle in games where, okay, I got to make a shot here. And it doesn't go in. All I'm saying is that I think because of what we saw early and the success that the Suns had getting out of the blocks fast, I think that we took a look at it and thought, oh man, this bench is pretty solid. They're doing well. And now that they've run into a crisis situation with their top players hurt, now we're finding out, maybe it's not that good.
Okay, so with DeAndre, let's talk about him for a moment. Of course, you've been on your
I have been
High horse.
No, what do you call that?
Shetland pony.
No, what Buddy Ryan had during press conferences. What was that?
little
The
stepping stool.
Stepping stool.
Yeah, he's
How high is that, Jimmy, for you?
Well,
the pulpit.
here's the best
He's been
part.
preaching.
Here's the best part. In the 70s, when they had platform shoes, I went from 5'7" to 5'10".
So you didn't use
awesome.
you didn't use the telephone book?
Oh no, man, no.
No, when you were doing your sportscasts in Buffalo, wherever,
Right.
Texas,
Yeah.
you weren't on.
Look at, I'm as tall as Miss
little
Manuch sitting
stool.
down. Sitting down, I'm as tall as Manuch.
Well, DeAndre Ayton, what I was getting at is you've been preaching that DeAndre needs to just shoot more,
Yes.
shoot more. Needs 20 shots a game, 25 shots a game. So he becomes trade eligible in 10 days.
Right.
Now, he has the veto rights. But if this team loses 3 or 4 more games in a row, does DeAndre say, I want to be traded. I want out of here.
Well, Rock, that's a very interesting one. That he's got to be part of the Rock for this Suns.
I don't
right
like
now.
this new ownership. I don't know anything about it. I'm not a fan of this. I want to go to New York. I want to go here. I want to go there, wherever it may be.
Right. Does he
We all know that of all 4 major sports, the NBA, the players have the most say.
They run the league.
They really do. If
They do.
DeAndre says, hey, all right, hey, guys, trade me. Get me out of here.
Well, you're going to – are other teams ready to give
You start wheeling and dealing.
Well, but here's the thing. Who's going to give a boatload to the Suns? A first, a top player. Well, they're one of their top players plus draft picks. Maybe right now DA would probably require 2 players besides draft picks from whomever. And from that void you'll have at center or power forward, whatever you want to call the 5. Who would you go get to replace him to have the kind of prowess
All right,
he has?
let's just say this hypothetical.
Yeah.
I saw some reports at Karl Anthony Towns,
Okay.
Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
What if you packaged DeAndre, Bridges, and a pick or 2,
Okay.
and you go after Towns?
The Catman? Wow, that's very tempting, Rock, to look at something like that and see the Catman, and he's been.
Or you go after, I don't know, a Jimmy Butler in Miami, which you'll see this week.
You're going to see him. I watched Jimmy Butler last night.
I love Jimmy Butler.
I do too. I watched him last night against the Lakers. Lakers beat them with a depleted lineup last night. I'm just going to.
Or LeBron James. Even LeBron James. He was a teammate who won 3 championships with James Jones.
Yes.
They're tight. Chris Paul and him are tight. I'm sure Devin Booker is a pretty good friend of LeBron's now.
Oh yeah.
I'm just saying, if you're gonna go after a superstar, and you have a guy that wants to get traded, who's one of your alleged
He's not a star.
superstars.
He's not a star.
Yeah,
Booker's the star.
No, we know
and
that.
then there's
Well,
everybody else.
But he's throwing in Bridges with
No,
him
I
on that.
understand.
Plus maybe I think their first round pick's number 23. You could throw that in there. How you could throw the next 2 first rounders in?
you would have to create something that would be outrageously tempting for somebody to unload.
That would be outrageously tempting right there. The
Yes,
Catman.
for Cat.
But when Booker,
But you got to give up a lot to get somebody like that.
That's my
And
point.
would anybody argue that? Let me ask you this: would you make that trade today?
For Karl Anthony Towns?
Yes.
yeah,
hands down.
I'm leaning that way, Rock.
How
All
many
right, let's
number
just say
ones
it's
do I have to give
DeAndre and
up?
Mikal Bridges or a Cam Johnson sign a trade.
Don't worry about your number ones, Jimmy.
Okay.
They mean nothing.
Yeah, I don't care about draft picks
Okay.
anymore.
Draft picks mean
What do we
nothing.
care
All
at
right.
the end of the day?
Okay.
With free agency in this sport, I don't think draft picks
See,
are
here's-
as valuable.
Here's my issue. Is right now, in my estimation, with what I have seen
3
out
minutes.
of DeAndre Ayton, he could be a similar player to Karl Anthony Towns. He is giftedly skilled. They don't get him the ball.
I don't think he
So
has
there-
that. I don't think he has that. That
Towns-
drive.
Okay, Towns.
That drive.
I'll give you that. Towns does indeed
Yeah.
have that. But skill-wise, they are very similar, except Ayton doesn't step out very much to shoot the 3 where Towns would.
Well,
But
DeAndre started to shoot.
Yeah,
once
I
in a
know,
while out
I
there.
know. But down low on the block, they are very, very similar, and both are gifted athletically. So, once again, is it a case where if you make that deal, is Cat going to get the ball?
How old is Cat right now? Is he 26, 27 ish?
Hey, right in there. Yeah,
Mid-
28,
20.
maybe
You know,
28.
and the one thing I think you bring up here, Rock, is the guy
27.
that's
27,
proven,
thank you.
the guy that can go ahead and make those moves versus I think a lot of people look at DA and go, well, that potential's there. Well, we're beyond potential.
No, we are behind them. Yes.
You got to go make it happen.
He
so,
was a number one freaking pick in the NBA
but the thing that
draft.
drives me nuts is to hear Monty Williams after the game say, well, we just got to give him the ball more.
Yes.
Well, get him the damn ball more,
yes.
Monty. I mean, another thing too with the injuries the Suns have without Book and without Johnson is we start to see the coaching issues. Not to say Monty Williams not the fair-haired child. We love him. Starting to see him get out coached on a certain situation with the players he has. Now, these MU play a game team like Cleveland. They play good defense. They had opportunities to win that game. But you see these guys come off the bench, and you see CP3, his game starting to wane a little bit. And if DA's not getting the ball 99% of the time, then what do you have left besides your motion offense?
What you have left is 88 points. That's what you have left.
And shoot it get it off within, 5 seconds? That's kind of his mantra at times. But they've gotten away from defense, so maybe that playing defense last night against Miami on tomorrow night, they can bring that back into the fold and then just give DA and try to get the game back on track with their offense. That's all I can look at it.
I will tell you this, that matched up against Miami, you're going to play against a very active big man in Bam Adebayo. And he runs the floor, he can score it, he can rebound it, and he can block shots. So it'll be interesting to see what the matchups will dictate in that game coming up against the Heat.
I'm not sure if DeAndre Ayton will get moved or would even want to get moved.
Right. It was an interesting thought, Rock.
It seems as though with the riff at the end of last year, the exchange they had on the bench in December, I think that was maybe in Dallas. I can't remember where that was. There's people in his ear.
Oh, absolutely.
And he's making $30 million a year right now.
Yep.
He could go wherever he wants, or if they could trade him. He can't go to Indy, I think, but he could go just about anywhere. I think there could be a pretty viable case that you can move him right now. And I don't think Suns fans would be that pissed off about it.
And if the window is closing on this
Especially
team,
if it's a superstar you can return, a scorer.
And when you get Booker and Johnson back to have a guy that can help enhance you going, if not deeper into the playoffs, or at least winning the Western Conference. Right now, we saw what's going on in Milwaukee. They're going to have a phenomenal time in the East. And those teams in the East. And that's what I'm saying. But, you look at what they got to compete with to try to win the Western Conference. Making that move is a bold move. And does it make that team better to reach their goals and accomplishments versus everybody going, well, DA's our future. Hell, the future's now, man.
Right now.
The future.
When do you determine that? You're in your fourth year or whatever.
Yes.
I mean, you look at the similarities between Kyler Murray, first-round pick, DeAndre Ayton, first-round pick, and what they have done for these organizations. They were supposed to be the savior. They're supposed to win some championships, and neither one has panned out. And I think there's fans on both sports have said, all right, we gave it 4 years. How much longer do we got to give it?
And to that point of when will DA become that superstar, which he's not, and will Kyler Murray become the franchise quarterback, which he's not. So Murray's got one more year.
Glimpses we see of both.
Yes, sure. But you got it for superstars. You see it night in and night out.
Yeah,
superstars command the basketball on almost every trip down the court. That does not happen with the Phoenix Suns unless Devin Booker is on the court.
We're all about the dogs. Our underdog picks of the week are next. We're out here at Twin Peaks in Scottsdale. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Fox Sports 910.
of them.
Who let the dogs out?
Most weekend bettors prefer to lay their money down on favorites because they can't get their head around backing an underdog. Not Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. They're all about the dogs. Time now for the dog picks of the week on Fox Sports 910.
All right, last week I was successful. Broncos in Kansas City, 12.5. I had Broncos. Manuch and Jimmy went with the Rams and Chargers, taking the Rams to cover, and that did not happen. Ben was following my lead and also went with the Broncos. Jax,
Rough.
Some things haven't changed.
No.
Vikings and Packers.
Easy, Rock. Easy,
Went
man.
plus 3.5. Got the loss there. So we turn our attention to this week and our standings. But overall, I'm 12-5. Manuch 11-6. Jimmy 8-9. Ben and Richie is a team up sometimes, 12-5. And then the flip side of that is Jack's 5-12.
Oh, I've learned a lot though, so it's all right.
The first year, with the Roc and Manuch and Jimmy B, it's a learning experience.
It's a rookie year, Rock.
Yeah, you
so
take it all in.
Yeah.
It's my first year too.
Yeah,
and I'm doing
Ben,
just fine.
Okay, Ben's doing all right, but he's had some help.
He's got Richie.
Yeah, he's got Richie, who's been doing radio for a long time. So he's got some help there.
And he calls Richie every morning too. When they do this.
Oh, they do?
Oh, yeah. We know
Okay.
Ben's calling him. Absolutely.
All right, let's get started with this week.
Let's start with the guy who grew up playing tennis, and his dog Guinness beat him last year in the fan pickup.
Hey guys, you ready to let the dogs out?
Rock, you got a lock?
It's a lock, and it's very hard for me to do this because I'm betting against my team. Not necessarily to win or lose, but I would love to see the Philadelphia Eagles win by 3-4 touchdowns. But I don't know if that's going to be the case, as they are favored by 13.5. So my underdog lock will be the Giants, just because the Eagles have been struggling to score, and we don't know if Hurts is going. I think he will.
Are the Giants going to play anybody?
Well,
they can't.
They're not playing for anything.
Well,
they locked up the 6th seed.
That's where they are.
So I don't expect a lot of star talent on either side.
I heard they.
So that's why. There's a chance that there won't even be 13.5 points scored because there's not enough good players out there.
But the one thing, the Eagles want to lock up the number 1 seed.
But they only need to win by a field goal.
Well, I know.
So I'm taking the Giants 13.5.
Okay.
Manuch, you played the game, so this should be a no-brainer. All my dogs. Give us your dog of the week.
I am shocked to see that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a dog in Atlanta, with everybody starting Atlanta and Tom Brady et al. Todd Bowles said we are playing the starters in this final game to make sure we are completely tuned up. The dog is minus 4.5. I'm all over.
Is it 4.5 right now? Because I've seen 6.5.
I saw this last night, locked it in at minus 4.5.
Well, no, we got to. Let me.
All right,
It's 4.5. It's 4.5. I just checked.
All right. Yeah, 4.5 as of last night this morning. So
checking.
I'm going to take the Bucs to cover and win this bad boy. Since Tom Brady, we're not taking any stinking days off.
That's it.
We're getting ourselves ready for the playoffs.
Finally, he's not Jimmy the Greek, but he's been calling the game for over 40 years.
What about the dogs? What about the dogs?
Jimmy B, what's your underdog pick of the week?
Look, I watched the Raiders play a very, very intense game and went to overtime last week with Jared Stidham as their starting quarterback. They are hosting the Chiefs. The Raiders are getting 9.5 at home. I expect they don't like the Chiefs at all, and they always give Kansas City problems. So I'm riding with the Raiders, and I'm taking that dog at 9.5.
I like it. By the way, DraftKings has got it at 9 right now, and then Manuch, for your game, they have it at 4.
Okay. I'll still take that bad boy.
All right, and that's it. That's our underdog picks of the week. It's a new year. No,
hold on, Rob. We got one more. Got a couple more. Yeah. All right, what do you got there, Ben?
Well, see, I was going to go with the best pick of the week, which is that Giants plus 14 is where I found it. But you know what? I think I want to come out on top at the end of the regular season. And unlike most people here, I have 2 picks. And this one is 6.5 for the Titans to cover against the Jags this week in a game that is a win-or-go-home situation. Josh Dobbs played really well in that Thursday night football game. And I think we're just going to come out top out of this damn thing at the end of this regular season.
I just don't understand. For someone who's been with us for like 3 months, is coming out saying I get 2 picks and we only get 1. I mean, anywhere on the marquee does it say Ben?
No. I said that I had 2 picks, but I'm going to pick between the worst of the 2 to give you guys a chance.
Okay.
So I'm going to take the Titans.
Just want to clarify that, Benjamin. I just
call me Skip Bayless because all I do is clarify.
Yeah. Not bad.
That was good.
All right, Jax.
All right, I'm going TCU plus 12.5. I'm going to go with college football national championship. I think that's a lot of points.
I took it too.
I think Georgia looked bad last week against a running quarterback with C.J. Stroud, Max Duggan. Keely Ringo is going to have his hands tied with Quentin Johnson, as we saw last week. Another 100-yard receiving game from him. I like this TCU team, man. I think they're going to play well against Georgia.
I think it'd be great if they pull the upset.
Oh, what a Cinderella story.
Go Big 12.
There you go.
The air raid of Sunny Dykes.
Is it a Cinderella story?
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
They were picked. They were picked seventh.
But first year head coach, backup quarterback.
Yeah.
It's TCU. They have 12,000 students at their school.
They
They're
won 3 games last year? They
3
won?
games.
Yeah.
But they finished the season 13-1.
I'm well aware
Isn't
of that.
a Cinderella would be a team that gets in the playoff by accident, maybe 8-8 or whatever the record is?
It's from worst to first. That's what it is.
I mean, they were 9-0 in their division. They did lose the Big 12 championship. The whole goal is before the start of the season is to win your conference.
Yes.
So how's that a Cinderella story?
I mean, they were a 200-1 point. I think it was 200-1 favorites to win the national championship. 200-1 is crazy.
You bet money on TCU, you're doing pretty damn good.
Not that much. 200's not much.
200-1?
Are you kidding me, Rock? I mean,
Yeah,
that
dude,
200-1?
No, you need more like I just took Gonzaga yesterday, plus 1,800. I took Arkansas plus 2,000. I took Wyoming plus 50,000. Doing my future bets. I took Miami plus 7,500. I took Alabama plus 2,000. I took Baylor plus 2,000. I took Texas, who just got their coach fired today, plus 1,800. I gotta go check and see if I can get more on that now. Tennessee was 1,400. What else I got? I put all these bets. Houston was plus 700.
Wow.
Creighton's who I really like.
I
Plus
like them
4,000.
Yep.
So those are some of my bets that I put in.
How about
already.
my K-State Cats? They were 13-1. They blew the doors off of Texas the other day.
Yeah, I didn't know.
1 minute.
Yeah,
Watch out.
It's not a basketball school.
Watch out. Watch out for my Cats.
Yeah. Shoot. What do we got? James Jones is going to join us next. Talk some NFL football as he will join us next as we continue on from Twin Peaks in Scottsdale. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, Fox Sports.
that you're a team that maybe in their past haven't had a ton of success. You have to learn how to win. And I think they've done that. And that's what makes them so dangerous. And I think with every win, there comes a little bit more confidence, a little bit more belief that no matter what the circumstances are, that you're going to be able to fight through it. And you become calloused. And I think that's what they've done. I think Dan's done an outstanding job with the other
guys
coaches and their players of instilling a mindset and a mentality that they're going to go out there and they're going to compete.
As Packers head coach Matt LaFleur talking about the Detroit Lions, how they've learned to win, and so have the Packers as of late. And it's going to be a good one. It's the Sunday night game. Lions, Packers, both 8-8 in this one, and it'll be a Lambeau Field, and it will be probably around 20 degrees at kickoff,
Roughly.
somewhere around there.
It's not going to snow, which is good.
Yeah, that's real good. Hey, by the way, before I forget, I want to remind you to start making plans to join us at either Casino Arizona in the showroom or in the ballroom at Talking Stick Resort, as you'll have an opportunity to win cash just for watching the big game. And this is our 22nd year of hosting the big game on Super Sunday. And doors will open at 2 at both locations. First come, first serve. Got to be 21 or older at both locations. Tons of cash. We'll start the jackpot out of $4,000. Monday of next week, we will be announcing who will be joining us at Talking Stick Resort. We are making some changes this year at Talking Stick Resort. We will be charging $25 in advance and $35 at the door to join us at Talking Stick Resort in the ballroom. And when I tell you why that is on Monday, and Manuch, Jimmy B, and Jax and Ben don't even know.
We don't know.
I have not told them. But when I do tell you, when I'm allowed to make this public, you'll be like, holy beep. How'd you manage that, Rock? And you guys will be just extremely starstruck.
Okay. I am waiting for bating breath here, Rob.
And everyone who comes will have an opportunity to meet this person along with some others.
Okay.
We've never done that in 22 years. In the past, we've had some celebrities occasionally, but, B guests, C guests. But this is an A guest.
Wow.
A gigantic A guest. Because Talking Stick is doing this kind of super Zona week.
Yeah.
I mean, Gronk's throwing a party there. Shaq and Snoop are throwing a party there.
Right.
Lee Steinberg and the SI is throwing a party there.
Nice.
I mean, it's a whole week, and it's going to be all capped off with this particular multi-sport superstar that is going to hang out with Roc and Manuch and Jimmy B for the big game.
I'm liking it, Rock. Hanging out with us. Just making it all happen.
Yes.
Up at Talking Stick, the big ballroom.
I'm gaga about it because it's pretty cool.
All right.
I mean, we're going to be fortunate the week before to meet these type of players as we'll broadcast from Media Row, and it's great that Fox is carrying the game on television. We got you on radio here with us on the coverage that we'll have. Jody in the morning, us in the afternoon. I mean, Monday through Friday there at the convention center. It's going to be a blast. There's nothing better. I've been fortunate to work 8 Super Bowls for NFL properties, but for a media guy, I've been able to do it, I think, 4 times. And the one here was great. The one in Houston was awesome. I mean, we've had a lot of fun being able to broadcast these games and being at Media Row, and the guests are just amazing. I mean, 1 minute you're talking to Jerry Rice, next minute you're talking to Tony Dorsett, and then a little bit later down the road it's some pop culture guy or some movie star that happens to be trying to sell a hat, a jersey, or some CBD or whatever it may be, and we're there to say, yep. And I already got the helmet.
Okay.
So I'm deciding on how to do this. So I bought a Rydell helmet, brand new.
Okay.
And put Fox Sports logo on the side of it, on each side. And every celebrity that comes on the show with us is going to sign their autograph on this helmet.
That is so awesome.
And then I think we should do with this helmet damn it.
Auction it off for charity?
Yeah.
There you go. Attaboy, Rock.
It would look really good in my office.
I'm sure it would.
I knew you were thinking.
We've done it before, and I still have it. I have it when we were on another station, and it's pretty cool.
Yes.
And the thing is, you really don't know who it is. And Jax is going to be with us every day. He doesn't know this yet, but his whole responsibility is going to be just to take a picture of the person signing it on the helmet, because you never know who it is after the fact.
Right.
Because you don't know scribble.
Yeah,
you don't know.
exactly.
So it'll be like a roster we'll have with all the celebrities on this, every athlete that's come through, and we'll have to sign on that. And then we're also going to bring back this year the Guess the Picks, Guess the Score.
Oh, are we good? Okay.
For a massive gift card at a very high-end steak place.
Woo. Very nice.
For both our listeners and our celebrity pickers.
Jimmy, that gets the attention of our celebrities.
Yes,
So I got to go do another one. Yeah, but this is what you're playing for. Okay. What time you got me on?
Yeah, it was such a treat a few years ago to have Jim Brown on our show.
Absolutely.
Giving his pick so he can win a $250 Ruth's Chris Steakhouse gift card.
That's great.
And it was like, you're talking to Jim Brown.
Yes.
I mean, he's right up there with all the superstars.
Yeah, we
the
got
goats of the world.
It was awesome. Matter of fact, I had somebody listening. We had Steve Young on one year, and they go, Manuch, how'd you guys get him? Nobody ever gets Steve Young outside of the four-letter network. I said, well, we got this contest here that if he wins, he'll be treated very, very well.
It's not like what's so funny about it is, it's a $250 or whatever, $400 gift. I can't remember how much it was. Those guys have that in their
do.
the change. It's in their car seats.
Oh, sure.
Just laying there with $100 bills everywhere to our quarters.
And then they have them text you on Monday. Hey, how did I do on that gift card? Well, you missed out by it had to be exact score. I know Lincoln Riley was one of our winners once.
Lincoln Kennedy, Lincoln Riley. We didn't get him. We didn't get him.
We might get him.
Yeah, we got Lincoln Riley.
We might get Lincoln Riley right now this year. But and then I remember Gail Jansen several years ago. She went Channel 10. Yeah. She won. And so Lake is, hey, I was close this year. You got an exact score, Lincoln. You got it last year, but guys get dialed in like, you guys got that contest again? Yeah, we do. We're going to get them away.
It's you just think about what's about to hit us here in about 2 weeks. We're here at Twin Peaks in Scottsdale, right across the street from Barrett Jackson, Westworld.
Yep.
And just an 8-iron to Waste Management Phoenix Open. And what's going to transpire in the next few weeks when it comes to what we do is going to be a lot of fun.
Yes,
it's going to be it's going to be
really
busy.
Looking forward.
I was the communications director for the Waste Management Phoenix Open is actually sitting in here having a big business meeting. Our good boy, our buddy Woody, and I talked to him yesterday about we're going to start bringing on some of the players from the Waste Management Phoenix Open. They're going to be competing because they're Morikawa just announced today. I mean, it's a big. This is probably in all the years of the Phoenix Open, at least current 20 years, the biggest number of high-ranked players in this 125, 126, whatever it is. It's going to be amazing, the players, because it's the Super Bowl. They want to be here because what happens when they get done playing on Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock? What are they doing? They got that SUV waiting for them or that helicopter that's going to take them over to Glendale to go see the game.
Yep.
Remember the helicopters that were flying in over there, the SUVs,
private jets,
they
were coming into Scottsdale Airport.
It's absolutely nuts. The synergy you feel, and then going down to the convention center for Media Row and all that. It's a blast. It's like you're basically you're bright-eyed, bushy-tailed.
Well, you feel like you're in the game. That's what you feel like.
Yeah,
you get that adrenaline rush. Yeah, just like the players do who are going to go play.
And the last time it was here, I recollect there was a guy named Tom Brady that was with the Patriots that won on an interception against the Giants. Yeah, well,
Giants
against Seattle. Now it'd be the last.
What was the one before when it was?
Was it Giants? He lost to Giants. Here.
Giants, yeah.
But he did win when Russell Wilson threw the pick.
They made the interception
at the end.
That was here.
That was
here.
Yeah, they should have given it to Marshawn Lynch.
So this will be the fourth Super Bowl then.
Yeah.
Because Dallas and Pittsburgh was in '96. That was the first one. I'll never forget. I was on the field working the game. I'm in the end zone. I see a buddy of mine. I'm like, how'd you get in? He goes, after the game started, ticket prices face value were like $350. He got in for $100.
Wow!
After the game started at Sun Devil Stadium.
That
will never happen again.
That first one here.
Tickets right now, face are about 3,500.
Right.
Woo!
That's
Face.
That's just
wow. Such. I mean,
No,
they have outpriced themselves for anybody like us to want to go to the game.
That's true.
That's right.
Because I would never. I have friends saying, "Oh, dude, if the Eagles are here, you're going to a game." I'm like, no. Yeah. I would not, first of all, pay that kind of money to go to a game. Not to mention, I've been to Super Bowls before. But even if it's your team, I get it. Maybe it makes some sense. But man, if you got $10,000 for a pair of tickets, because that's what it's going to be on the secondary market. Not to mention what it's going to cost to get here, the fly here,
sure,
hotels, all that.
Yeah.
Yep,
it's just too expensive.
Yeah,
why wouldn't you want to watch it at Talking Stick or Casino Arizona, where you could win money
and come out and hang out with us because we're cool
and have some fun and watch the game and see the replays and that's the thing too is when you're at the game you miss a lot of the game, in my opinion. Yeah, you just do.
Yeah, I've yet to go to a Super Bowl. I used to get my tickets away to my dad because you get 2 per player when you're playing the league.
Right.
So I get my dad and he invited one of his other buddies or whatever to go to the game.
I can see it's like, all right, the ticket guy, the Buffalo Bills, is like, all right, you're going down the list. There's Fergie, and going down the list, all the superstars, and then all right, let's go to the bench. All right, we got the holder. Oh, that's Dan Manucci. Yeah. All right, so. We got 2 tickets right next with obstruction view.
Yep. Right by the men's room.
I don't care. Hey, people don't care where they are. When they're in the building, man. When they're in the building, they love it.
And we'll come back. We'll finish up here. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Twin Peaks, Fox Sports 910.
Hey, man.
Just make one call. That's all.
eBay have you up
602-9.
I want to thank, Coach mentioned it earlier, but our training staff for going out there, not knowing what's going on, but going through a checklist, working as a single cell symbiote, like saving his life, and it is being on that field. You lose sleep, you hurt for your brother, a lot of shared grief, but to the question before, getting updates and positive updates eases
Those are hot 5 seconds.
pain and that tension that you feel, but Coach handled it as perfect as anybody could.
It's Josh Allen earlier today, just within the last hour and a half, as the Buffalo Bills had a press conference where a lot of the players and head coach McDermott talked. And wow, you can hear it in his voice. It's still pretty intense.
Yeah, it is. And, just getting any update of positivity is good. And now to hear that he's neurologically healthy at this point, his lungs are improving, that he's just improving day in and day out. And for players that have one of their brothers that's hurt or hurting, to get positive news, you kind of, gosh, guys, you kind of breathe again. You go, okay, we can move on now. We're seeing, him become more and more healthy. We can now go into this game feeling pretty good, and just get that weight off our shoulders and get focused on the task at hand. And not that he's completely out of harm's way, he's still in critical condition, but as a player and as a team, you're feeling pretty good about him moving progress and moving forward.
Here's what's on tap, which is brought to you by 72 Sold. Coyotes and Flyers, that is in Philadelphia. That'll be on Valley Sports Arizona at 5 o'clock. 6 o'clock, Washington State is in Tempe to face the Sun Devils. Pac-12 Network there, and then FS1 tonight, a late one, 9 o'clock. Mm-hmm. Washington's in town. What they will do for TV.
You better believe it, man.
Yep, 9 o'clock start.
Yeah.
Down in Tucson.
They'll get that bad boy done about 11:30.
Yep,
wow. That's right.
What's on tap? It's powered every day by 72 Sold, and everyone knows the housing market is getting tough. Number of sales are down, prices are down, but 72 Sold is still getting top dollar for their customers. You're making a mistake if you go the traditional route. 72 Sold has a solution for today's home seller market. Go to 72sold.com. Get your price, a higher price, at 72 Sold.
State 48 Roofing, get your call question of the day. You just go to @Roc and Manuch, and you can go ahead and vote. What is the biggest need, keyword need, for the Cardinals next year? Is it a new head coach? Is it a new GM? Is it an edge rusher? Or is it an offensive lineman, top lineman? Well, currently in the clubhouse, tied up, new head coach and new GM are leading at 42.1%. Offensive line, 15.8%. I would pick a edge rusher over the offensive lineman in a heartbeat, but I voted for new head coach. I think he'd take those players and run from there.
Speaking of head coach, there was a tweet that came out about 2 hours ago that Jax pointed out that Jim Harbaugh is happy, is going to stay in Michigan. However, a report that just hit on 24/7 Sports,
right?
The Michigan football program is under investigation by the NCAA and expects to receive a notice of allegations by tomorrow.
However,
Harbaugh to the NFL.
Yeah, but if you look at the rest of the tweet, it says they are expected to be minor violations.
But if there are violations,
I understand.
Was it Pete Carroll that left because of minor violations from USC to Seattle? Just happened to leave.
That was major violations.
Violations of violations. I think he felt the cavalry coming in on his heels, and he felt it was time to move on. I think one of those was the whole Reggie Bush
scenario.
The situation.
Parents.
You know what, guys? I mean, he's got the experience. He's taken an NFL team to the Super Bowl. He's had success. If somebody makes him the Godfather offer,
I don't even think it needs to be a Godfather offer.
He may go.
You beat Ohio State twice. That's a huge accomplishment.
Yep.
You get to the playoff. Huge accomplishment. Twice.
Yep.
Now you're 1-6 in bowl games. That is not a good accomplishment.
Well, I think the other thing on top of that is, okay, you got all the recruiting you got to deal with. Maybe he's like, I've got some unfinished business in the National Football League.
Yeah.
And he goes back to a Carolina or a Denver. I don't know if he'd come here to the Cardinals, but he could. because the guy's been there and done that. He's kind of a ground chuck guy, but you know what? He wins, and he wins, gets you to championship games, and he's just one Super Bowl shy of one of the big ones. So I don't know. I think that it's got to be the right scenario for him, but I think a lot of it has to do with if he feels he's gone as far as he can with Michigan, but Michigan still got a lot of guys.
I think
back.
he likes college football,
and he's built for college.
Yes,
football.
he is built for.
Kids
college.
love him.
How can you make a case that he's not built for the NFL too?
No, he is.
His numbers were huge.
Like Saban.
Everywhere he went,
Right.
he won.
Saban was not built for the NFL.
He was.
Saban was built for college.
But Harbaugh was and
Yes.
is built for the NFL.
And Steve Spurrier was the same way. Wasn't built for the NFL.
Yep.
But you know what? I think that, hey, if you got a pretty good deal going on, and you got an outstanding team coming back, you got a lot of guys coming back, you got good recruits. I mean, he's got unfinished business on the college side, on the NFL side. Just depends on what path of least resistance he wants to go down. But he can handle both scenarios.
I'm anxious to see when and if. I think it's just a matter of when Cliff's going to get let go. I mean, you never want to see anybody get fired. I think he'll be all right. He's got the extension.
Yes.
He's got the hot model girlfriend that's traveling all over the world and showing bikini pictures, and he's got it pretty good. He'll be all right. He can chill in his crib and PV and wait for a coordinating job somewhere.
I was just going to say that, Rock. If he really wants, he get his buyout, move on. If he wants to be a coordinator in the National Football League,
go back to college.
Or go back to college.
Sure. He seems to be more of a college type coach when you hear his interview. When you hear his press conferences, the way he speaks to us as fans and as media, he's always so complimentary of his players. They only played hard.
Yeah.
Dude, this is a business, man. They better be playing hard. You don't need to tell them they are.
Yeah.
And I think from that standpoint, if he does go back to college as a coordinator or a head coach, but I think National Football League, he's still got a lot to learn, I feel, as far as moving forward.
I think a lot of people would agree with you. We'll be on the right Twitter tomorrow. Special thanks to Twin Peaks for having us out here in Coors Light and Blue Moon, kicking off your football weekend.
10.
But again, we'll do it all tomorrow, again at 1 o'clock. For Jimmy B, Jax, and Manuch and Ben, I'm Rock. Have a great